Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly with you on this Wednesday. We are broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Cory back in studio. No Hulk today, but it's all good. We got Cory Curtis back in the building. Cory, before we get into anything else,
okay.
Super Bowl on Sunday. What were your thoughts?
First of all, Eddie Tagseth for Nashville SC has just signed a contract extension.
There you go. It feels like every time you're in here, they like to drop the news.
They have their season opens next week, and they have been dropping something like every day. They're doing it really well.
Right.
So they know what they're doing. As for the Super Bowl, it was exactly the game I expected to see.
Yep.
I told you for 2 weeks that Seattle would outman them at every spot, and they did outman them at every spot. They were clearly a better team. Everybody asked me about betting on the game. I told them bump the Seahawks up to -9.5 and make yourself some money. You would have cashed in there. Look, it was an amazing run by the Patriots to get there. You can only beat who's in front of you, and when you go from where they were to where they went, regardless of the circumstance, it's amazing. But that doesn't take away from the fact that their path was paved in gold and that they were outmanned, and we all knew it.
Yep.
I mean, they lose to the Broncos by 2 touchdowns if Bo Nix plays in that game. And now he didn't, but if he does, they do. Okay. And Drake May is a very good young player. He's got a ways to go, as we saw against really good defenses, but they've got to give him better players.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunter Henry and Stephon Diggs are at the end of the line, and they're like his top 2. Okay. So Joe asked me, Joe Rexroad, on Monday, if I had to choose between the Patriots not making it back to the Super Bowl in the next 10 years or going to multiple Super Bowls and winning one, which one would I take? And I would take not going back, because they've got that many holes to fill. And I'm talking about getting over the top consistently, because they're going to play a first place schedule next year. All right.
Right.
So it's going to be different. And I don't think the playoffs will ever unfold for a team like they unfolded for the Patriots this last year. And again, congratulations for getting there. You still got to do it. I've seen plenty of teams not be able to do it, but that's the circumstance of why we had a team that was overmatched. And frankly, that game should not have been as close as it was, because Sam Darnold missed a couple of opportunities.
Yep.
He could have had Smith and Jigba for 2 touchdowns. All right. And they could have won that game by 28 points.
And it shows you how much better the Seahawks team was that Darnold didn't play very well.
No.
50% completion percentage.
He didn't turn it over. That was the big thing.
Right. He did not make a big mistake. And the defense literally just shut down the Patriots for, they scored 13 points late, but 3 quarters, it was scoreless. The Seahawks defense was that dominant. And you are right. You can't take anything away from the Patriots. They got to the Super Bowl. But you are right when you look at the path back. How many times in the next, we can even bring it down to 5 years. In the next 5 years, are Mahomes, Burrow, and Jackson all not going to be in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to face Josh Allen either, because someone else took him out for you. The odds of going through an AFC playoff run in the next 5 years and not having to see one of those 4 quarterbacks, I would say, is almost about 0.
Yeah. Well, and then you didn't play Bo Nix. Okay.
So right. Yeah. You got Jarrett Stidham in the AFC Championship game.
You got the Chargers minus their offensive line. Okay. I mean, I think the Chargers are the favorite to win the West next year.
Yeah.
The thought is they're going to be pretty good. And so, I mean, there's a lot of good teams. I think the Texans, who are the favorite to win the South, are an enigma, because we all think their defense is going to be great, but CJ Stroud looks like he's going in reverse.
It's really strange what we've seen from CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's won a playoff game in all 3 years. So it's not like the results have been abysmal, but you look at the way he played as a rookie and the way he played in that playoff game, and it's a completely different player.
That's why I say he's going in reverse. He's not getting better. He's getting worse. And that's a problem. And I'm sorry, Trevor Lawrence, I know he was an MVP finalist and Sam Darnold wasn't.
I don't know how that happened.
I still don't know. I look, he had a good year. I'm not going to say he didn't, but I'm not on that train.
He did not get any first place votes. So I guess just he got more down ballot voting than Sam Darnold did, because the 4 players who got the first place votes were Stafford, who won it. May was right behind.
I'm going to guess Smith and Jigba took away votes from Darnold.
Yeah, it's possible. You look and you say he's got the best receiver, he's got the offensive player of the year, he's got a great defense. Maybe he doesn't deserve to be considered in the MVP conversation, but
for a pretty good year
for Trevor Lawrence,
come on, man.
Trevor Lawrence was good.
What do you have? 27-12?
Yeah, I think that.
Okay, that's right. A good year. That's not an MVP year. That's a good year.
And did the Jaguars? They were either first or second in takeaways.
They were. I think they ended up being.
Were they second behind the Bears?
Yeah, they were first for a long time, and then the Bears overcame them.
Yes.
And yes, yeah, they thrived on turnovers. Like a lot of times this season, if you look at their wins and losses earlier in the year, it was predicated on that turnover margin.
Right. The Chiefs game on the Monday night, I remember seeing that. It's like they picked off Mahomes 2 or 3 times.
Devin Lloyd got him in the red zone.
He had the pick 6 in the red zone. Yeah. I look at the AFC and I think you can say there's never going to be that easy of a path for Drake May, for any team really moving forward.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they make a couple of big time additions and they go to the Super Bowl 5 times in the next 6 years. But they need some help.
Well, that's the conversation we were having on Monday. Is it's so difficult to get back, right? Yeah. Like for Patriots fans specifically, because they did go back so often, and now
this is easy. We're the Pats.
We'll be back. No worries. Yeah. We'll be back. Not everybody's Tom Brady. Like Drake May can still be a really, really good quarterback and never make it back.
Look, he had a great year, so don't get me wrong, because I put him right up there with the MVP conversation. Absolutely. But it was disappointing to see him in that game not elevate his team. He did not elevate his team at all.
He was rattled at the end of that game. I mean, that interception he threw just lobbed it right to Julian Love.
Terrible. If that game, the longer that game went on, the worse the outcome was going to be.
It was funny. Did you see the mic'd up video of Julian Love that came out in the last day or two?
No, I have not.
So he comes over early on in the game to the sideline and he goes, "That's classic young quarterback right there. Stafford will know a guy's open and throw it without confirming it first.
Yeah.
But May is taking a little half second to make sure the guy's
got to see it to believe it."
And that was the difference in that game.
Now Stafford's also thrown to Puka and Devontae.
Yes, and he's also been doing it for 20 years.
Yes, absolutely.
Close to 20 years.
Yes.
But we went through it on Monday that Drake May joins 4 other quarterbacks who reached the Super Bowl and lost in their second year. None of the previous 4 made it back. Dan Marino is number 1.
Okay.
Colin Kaepernick, number 2.
Okay.
Which extenuating circumstances there. Brock Purdy and Joe Burrow.
Okay, so those two still have a chance.
Purdy and Burrow are still playing, of course.
So
but
you're saying there's a chance.
But as of now, that has not been done before. Now, there have been quarterbacks, of course, who have gone in their second year and returned multiple times. Kurt Warner did it. Tom Brady. And there's one more that I'm blanking on. I'll have to find it during the break. But quarterbacks who have gone early in their career and not made it back, I think there is that idea of, they'll be back. They're so young. You just never know.
No, you don't ever know. You just don't really ever know. And it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, because like right now with Burrow, I know he's got Chase and Higgins, but you'd have to bet against it.
He's got some Andrew Luck to him right now.
Well, I mean, their offensive line continues to be terrible.
Right.
And look, Callie came from that system.
Yep.
And that's a system that's getting Joe Burrow killed. All right.
And you wonder if Zach Taylor, I think he's got to be gone if they don't make the playoffs.
I don't understand his inability to pivot and say, hey, we're getting our quarterback killed. I don't understand that. If I was the owner, I'd be like, what are you doing? We need this guy. He's awesome. Don't get him killed. We got to do something.
Yeah.
But they want to run 5 guys out there, drop him back, and, hope he survives. And, their defense is terrible. That organization has a reputation of being cheap, and obviously players get paid, but their cheapness shows up elsewhere. Like they have the smallest scouting staff in the league.
Yes. And they don't want to pay a coach not to coach.
Yes. I think that's very, very true. They don't fire people.
Right.
And so I think, the 49ers, you could see Purdy making it. But Burrow right now, unless I could see Burrow demanding a trade at some point and going and playing somewhere else.
Or again, like the Andrew Luck of it all. Like, what if it just gets too much? If he keeps getting injured,
I think he likes playing more than
I think he does too. So, but some of the answers he had in his interviews this year was like, man, things aren't good up there in Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he's not happy there.
Yeah.
And so I could see him wanting out, and Cincinnati would probably be happy to not pay him.
Yeah.
And
I think that they would talk themselves into, we'll take the first round picks and the cheap talent that we can get.
And I could see Burrow moving on somewhere.
Ben Roethlisberger is the name that I was forgetting. Keegan says Mahomes made it in year 2-1 and made it back. Mahomes actually made it in year 3.
What did he do in year 2?
He lost to Brady in the AFC Championship game.
Okay.
That was the D Ford game where he jumped off sides.
Oh, okay. He's just been to so many, you lose track.
Right. There's also one here from 1178. No starting quarterback in NFL history has won a Super Bowl with a last name shorter than 5 letters. So that doesn't bode well for Cam Ward either.
Jared Goff?
Goff never won one.
Oh,
he
no,
lost.
he lost.
Brady had 5, obviously. I would have to confirm that. I don't have it in front of me, but interesting stat there from 1178. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. The Super Bowl is in the books, which means we turn our attention to the offseason.
Favre.
Yeah, that's 5.
Yeah.
Less than 5.
Oh, less than 5.
Less than 5. Because Brady obviously.
I thought you were saying 5 or less.
No, less than 5. So May and Ward, that doesn't bode well for them.
Okay.
The Super Bowl is past us, so it's time to look ahead to the offseason.
That's right. Let's go get them.
Let's look around at the quarterback carousel, because I think the musical chairs around the quarterbacks are going to be very interesting this year. And we'll start with the 2 big names that could be on the move, Tua and Kyler Murray. We'll do that conversation coming up.
Those are kind of little guys.
Little guys, big names. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, one Tagovailoa, that's a big one. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. If you want to chime in, we are off and running. Sasha Washington from Vanderbilt women's basketball going to join us at 10 a.m. We'll also talk about Vandy men's basketball getting a big win last night at Auburn. And I heard the conversation with Joe, Paul, and Robbie on the way in about drafting a tackle. So we will give our thoughts on that later on in the show as well. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Corey Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly. Some Three Doors Down on this Wednesday morning. Tough news over the weekend. I don't know if you saw, Corey, about Brad Arnold, the lead singer for Three Doors Down, passed away.
Okay, that's terrible, and I don't mean this to sound callous.
You don't like Three Doors Down?
No, I don't know. I know I've heard of them.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you any of their songs.
Kryptonite.
Okay, I know. One. Okay, I know that one, and I'm sorry to hear he passed away.
Yeah, it was it was very strange because for some reason Robbie and Joe were talking about Three Doors Down, and Joe was saying how much he doesn't like Three Doors Down.
Okay,
and so we continued the conversation on Friday with Max Hers, and we were saying how we love Three Doors Down. We were playing it during the show, and then he passed away the next day. It was very strange, but
it's Joe Rexroad's fault.
I don't know if we can say that, but
I'm saying it. I'm blaming Joe.
Well, rest in peace to Brad Arnold. Very sad news over the weekend. I love Three Doors Down. They're one of my favorite bands growing up.
My condolences.
So, I think that's the second time Parker's played some Three Doors Down this weekend.
I also, and it's not the same, but I'll still never forget when Walter Payton died. For me,
yeah.
I mean, I'm a Bears. He's my favorite player of all time.
Right.
And that was a tough day.
Sweetness. I believe my dad's a 49ers fan, but Walter Payton was one of his favorite players growing up too.
Best football player I've ever seen.
Yep. That's what he would always say. I mean, I think he would put Jerry Rice and Joe Montana in there too, but
yeah. And again, they're great players, but like Walter did everything,
right.
Everything, run, block, catch, throw. I think he even punted in a game once. I'm serious. There was one game, the Bears quarterback play was so bad that they took all the quarterbacks out and just had Walter take the snaps. That's a true story.
Full on Wildcat.
They did. They just said, forget it. These guys are terrible.
Yeah. I hate that I never got to see him play. There are a lot of players that, I look back on and I'm like, man, I wish I could have seen him live.
Campbell.
Walter Payton, Earl Campbell, Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Like having seen the Barry Sanders highlights, it's like, man, that dude was just a human joystick.
He was, but he also, and I'm not trying to take away from the greatness of Barry Sanders. He was phenomenal. He took more negative yards, I think, than any player in NFL history because he was on a bad team. And so he'd have to traverse the field and he'd give up yards. Now, most of the time he would make it, but sometimes you'd be in 2nd and 19.
It's like Chris Johnson when he would do that sometimes too.
Somewhat, but CJ was a little different from Barry.
Yeah,
it wasn't
more
a strong
straight line speed,
and he was so fast.
Yeah,
so fast.
I saw a CJ 2K highlight reel pop up for me last week.
Yeah, I did too.
And it was the Chargers play where he ran to one sideline, circled back around, and weaved through traffic and took off to the end zone.
I know this isn't our topic, but I remember his first couple of years in the league. Every time they would play a team for the first time, seeing Chris Johnson in person, I'm like, he's going to go for 40-yard plus today.
Yes,
because all of their pursuit angles were wrong.
Yes.
They were always wrong.
They would play way too horizontal, and then by the time you were two steps in, it was too late.
It took them years to adjust.
Chris Johnson was that was my favorite player growing up. Speaking of which, by the way, just want to put this out there. Justin Verlander coming back to the Tigers yesterday made my heart happy. Getting my childhood favorite baseball player to come back and hopefully, World Series might be a stretch, but come back for a team that's competitive again. That made my heart happy yesterday to see JV come back home. So anyway, let's get back to quarterbacks here. The musical chairs around the NFL, I think, is really going to be interesting this year because there are a lot of quarterback needy teams, but this is not a year where you can look in the draft and say, all right, these teams are going to find their starting quarterback outside of the Las Vegas Raiders, right? Like Mendoza is going to go 1. We were talking about Ty Simpson. Maybe he vaults his way up the draft board and the Jets or Cardinals take him early.
Desperation is an amazing thing.
Right. It's like these quarterbacks always move their way up. And I don't doubt that Ty Simpson finds his way into the first round because that's kind of how it goes. I think it's going to be like last year of Mendoza goes number 1, Ward went number 1, and then somebody in the back end says, all right, let's take Ty Simpson, and he can sit behind whoever our guy is right now.
What other considerations are there even for round 1? I mean, because I wouldn't have known Tyler Shuck last year going high in round 2.
Let's see.
We all thought that was crazy.
I have not. There are definitely names up there. Trinidad Chambliss is getting a lot of buzz just because of the way he played in the college football playoff. there's a reason that he was
he played.
viewed as
He was a Division II player until last year.
Like, he was viewed as a 4th or 5th round pick before the college football playoff. I don't think that changes to him being a 1st round pick.
He's kind of the Malik Willis, right?
Yeah, I could see that. Kind of smaller guy.
Yeah.
Only played
Mobile.
1 year at the highest level.
Yeah.
Mel Kiper does have Trinidad Chambliss as the 3rd best quarterback in the draft.
Okay.
Garrett Nussmeier is 4.
He had a very good Senior Bowl as well. I could see Nussmeier moving up based on ceiling and Senior Bowl and not on a really subpar senior year.
Carson Beck, number 5.
Yeah.
And they view these guys like he's got a projected range. Nussmeier, Trinidad Chambliss, and Carson Beck are all viewed as late day 2 guys. He's got Ty Simpson as a late round 1, early day 2. So that's how the quarterback class is going to fall this year. I think you'll get some in the 2nd and 3rd rounds, but the only team that is looking and saying we are drafting our starting quarterback in this year's draft is the Raiders with Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, and Ben Solak at ESPN put out an article yesterday, and we touched on this on yesterday's show, of the teams that need passers and some of the options out there. And he starts with Tua and Kyler Murray, because I think those are the big fish, for lack of a better term, on the market, of guys who need a change of scenery and their current teams are looking to move off them. I suggested yesterday, just do a 1-for-1 swap. Send Kyler Murray to Miami, send Tua to Arizona, and see if it helps anything.
Okay, well, I mean, we say they need a change of scenery. Their teams need a change of scenery because Tua isn't that good.
No, yeah, he's bad.
Tua can play. I think Tua is a very high-end backup quarterback.
I would agree with that.
And for a team desperate for a starter to get you through the season, he can start for you. You have to know what his limitations are. And so you need a very good offensive coach like McDaniels, and like he had, and he understood what he could do. And by the way, when he had Tyreek Hill at his peak and Mostert and Jalen Waddle,
it was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
So he's another guy who you surround him with really good stuff, can still be productive. I mean, went to the playoffs twice, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think he's a lower end starter, a really high end backup. All right. So what's that mean? It means he's probably going to start somewhere next year.
Yeah.
Because there's teams that need starters. So maybe it's the Jets. I think the Jets is the worst possible scenario for him, just because it's New York and they're terrible. And that's not the situation he needs to be in.
Yes.
So what is the right scenario? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, but there's got to be, maybe go to Atlanta and compete with Penix, and you can have 2 lefties.
Right. I think that's what I look at for both Tua and Kyler, is they're going to go and be either in a competition with a guy like Penix or
JJ McCarthy
in Minnesota. I think those are both options. Or it's going to be, like we just talked about, those day 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Team's going to trade for Tua Tagovailoa, or if he gets cut, they'll sign Tua Tagovailoa and they'll draft one of those guys.
Chambliss. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, all right, Tua, you're going to be our starter, but once things go south, Trinidad's going to take over, and we're going to see what happens.
So what are the possible landing spots for those 2 guys?
So I look at it. Yeah,
Minnesota, Atlanta.
Yeah, I think
New
those
York,
are
the Jets.
Yes. The Steelers and Colts seemingly are a little more steady now. I think Rodgers is going back.
Is he going to? But he's not getting younger.
But
you still need somebody.
Do you want to bring in Tua or Kyler though? Like, would that make sense?
No, I'm not bringing in Kyler, but I don't think Tua is a threat.
I think they like Will Howard there, and I wonder if it's just, hey, we're good to run it back with Rodgers and Howard as our 2. And the Colts, it seems like Daniel Jones is their option A, number 1. They're gonna just let him
We're
go.
We're gonna ride that out.
So I wouldn't say there. How about Cleveland? Like,
would they have 5 to start this year?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe if Todd Monken is not a huge Shador guy, but obviously you can't just completely bench him.
All right,
you bring somebody in.
Hold on there, Chief. Do you think he gets that job if he's not a Shador guy?
The GM basically said that we are not married to Shador Sanders this offseason. So I don't know if they're making that hire based off of Shador Sanders. I think that it would be an option for them to bring in one of those guys to compete with Shador. And yeah, Sanders probably wins the job out of camp, but at the very least, the Browns would feel like they have a competent backup behind him.
Yeah, I mean, they do not have a backup. And so yes, you could bring in one of those guys, but I think if either of those guys says I'm going to sign in Cleveland, they're both going to expect to start.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
They're both going to expect to start. So I guess Vegas is off the table.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. What if Mahomes isn't ready to start the year? The Chiefs need somebody who can come in and start maybe the first 4 games of the season.
That's a good question.
Like if you're Tua and you could go start the first 4 games for the Chiefs, play under Andy Reid
Try and
for
raise
a year,
your stock a little bit.
Yeah, it might not be the worst thing ever.
I could see that. And, maybe Kyler would make sense there too. I
think Kyler's just going to start.
Kyler's going to look for somewhere where he's going to be the bona fide starter. But
the Jets have to start somebody.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
There has to be somebody under center week 1.
And so my guess is it's one of those 2 guys.
Yeah. That does feel like the most logical.
Here, let me throw out another name here.
Yeah.
They've said they're not going to trade him, but that's posturing. Mac Jones.
That's where I wanted to go next. We'll talk about Mac Jones and the other hot name on the market.
Okay.
Our old friend Malik Willis. We'll talk about those 2 guys coming up next. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to text or call, Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Looking around the NFL and who needs a quarterback, where some of the puzzle pieces could land this offseason. I do want to mention before we get back into it, I didn't see this morning. Brian Callahan officially has a new job.
And it's the exact job that I thought he would get.
Yep.
And that's quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator. It's for the New York Giants. And I am happy for him. Number one, he's working, and I think he needs to get back to work.
Yep.
But coaching under John Harbaugh, I think, is a great move for him.
I agree. And now we do get the experiment. I know he's not calling plays, but we get the experiment of Brian Daboll, Brian Callahan swapped quarterbacks. So we get to see what happens with Jackson Dart and Cam Ward based off of that. Looking around at quarterbacks, you mentioned a name heading into the break that I wanted to get to, Mac Jones.
Yeah.
I agree with you that the Niners saying we're not going to trade him is just posturing, trying to drive the price up.
He's going to be a starter.
Yes. And if you're a team that has a backup quarterback who has value somewhere else, you don't just stash him on your bench.
No.
Like if you can get a third round pick for Mac Jones, do you think that's what it would take to get Mac Jones away from San Francisco?
I would, the thing is that Purdy has shown an ability to be hurt.
Right.
And so but I think Kyle Shanahan is somebody who thinks he could make chicken salad. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, and there's some proof in that.
Right. Like you give me somebody, I will make them a good backup quarterback.
Yes. I think there's some proof to that. And so I think they feel like that's probably a luxury for them. And adding, San Francisco got old in some spots and they need some players. And so they could use some draft picks. And so if I think a third would probably do it.
Yeah, I think a top 100 pick for Mac Jones seems about right.
I mean, if somebody wants him to be their starter, they're going to pay for it.
Yes. You're not going to say, hey, we'll give you a 6th round pick and we're going to start Mac Jones.
Now, it might be like Jones in a 6th for a third.
Yeah, I could see that. Like a big pick swap, right?
Yes.
Like you get a little something back. You're not giving up a full pick, but it's a pretty big gap.
But I think he's going to start somewhere. Like he could be the Jets or Arizona. It'll be interesting to see because I really feel like I don't see like the Falcons trading to bring him in, or the Vikings. If you're trading for him, it's to start.
Yes, I would think the Vikings and the Falcons are going to bring in free agents to compete.
Yeah,
but when you trade for somebody, you've already made your decision on the young.
Well, and who's got more draft capital than anyone? It's the Jets.
Yeah,
it's the Jets.
Right. They've got picks to spare.
Yes. And so I think that's what I would look for, but we'll see. We'll see. And look, I don't think Mac Jones has become a better player than I ever thought he would be. He's clearly better than he was in New England, but again, there's a lot of guys who look good in San Francisco.
Yes. And a lot of these backup quarterbacks who get the reclamation project look more valuable than they actually end up being.
Yes.
Not everybody is Sam Darnold.
No. There's a lot more guys, I like the Matt Flynn when he left Green Bay.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles. Scott Mitchell is a name out of the past.
Right.
These guys, they looked like, hey, he's the guy. And somebody pays big money for him and he's not
the guy.
He's
not
the guy.
How about this? If the 49ers trade Mac Jones, send Will Levis back their way, and he can be Kyle Shanahan's reclamation project.
That wouldn't be bad. I think the 49ers trading for Levis is a backup. I think the Chiefs trading for Levis is a backup. The Falcons or Vikings trading for Levis is a competitive backup.
We traded him to the Rams yesterday.
Yeah, that would just be, hey, let's see if this guy could be our future quarterback.
Yep.
That's what that would be. But so I think those would all be interesting scenarios, for Will and for the Titans. We disagree on this. That look, if to me, I keep him as the backup unless somebody really wants to pay for him. I'm not doing a Malik Willis trade. I mean, the guy's gonna be a starter this year in the league, and you gave him away for a 7th. All right, so I'm not doing that. If he goes out in the preseason and tears it up, then maybe somebody really wants to come to you with an offer. But if Cam goes down week 2. I need somebody who can play. All right.
I think you feel good about some of the options out there in free agency that they will be better than Brandon Allen. And
Okay. That bar's
if
really
Cam
low.
Ward goes down, the season is lost.
But you
anyway.
still got to play those games.
I know you do, but it's you're not going to win many of them, no matter who the backup quarterback is.
No, you're not. But you still got to play. I mean, you can't have 17 games like you just had.
No, I
in
know.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
All right. You can't. And so you got to have some competence at that position. And again, there's value in seeing if Levis can improve under a coach with a better plan.
No, and I agree with the point that you've made of if you do bring him in or keep him here and he blows up in the preseason, the price goes up. But I think he's going to get traded before the draft. We will see.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but what's the lowest pick you would take for him?
6th, the lowest. I would want a 4th. I think it ends up being a 5th. The lowest I'd take is a 6th.
Yeah. I mean, I think high 6th.
If you're really looking to get rid of him, then I think a 6th is the lowest you would go. Yeah. But I think it'll end up being a 5th. Like somewhere like pick 150 or so.
Yeah, because somebody's going to trade for him as a backup.
Yes, they're not trading for him to be the starter.
But again, he's a high second-round pick. He was the first pick of the second round.
Yep.
And he started in the league. And your backup stinks. And so
here's a snippet from the Ben Solak article about Will Levis. I thought this was pretty funny. He talks about lost the job. Cam Ward underwent shoulder surgery. But here's the quote. A disaster class artist so prolific, he produced multiple screenshot-worthy reactions to his own turnovers. Levis is remembered worse than he actually played.
I would agree with that statement.
I agree. I think there were good moments from Will Levis, for sure.
Yeah, but again, he fell into a lot of the same problems Cam fell into the first 8 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
The coach gave him too much.
Right.
He gave him too much. I mean, you go back to that first game in Chicago, the opener. It was great the first half.
He was.
And then he made the big mistake in the second half. And the big difference between those two guys is the confidence level and the ability to absorb mistakes or bad plays or whatever and keep marching forward.
Will Levis spiraled after the slow start to the season. Cam Ward battled through it and finished stronger. Yeah. And you could make the argument that with the coaching staff changing over,
but you still at quarterback, you have to have that mentality. It's like being a good goalkeeper or goaltender. You know you're going to give up some goals. You got to be able to go on to the next one.
Yep.
Quarterback, not every play is going to be perfect. Not every throw is going to be perfect. Not every pass protection is going to be perfect. You've got to be able to go on to the next play.
Ben Solak also says, because the Titans front office and coaching staff are completely new, I'd be stunned if he isn't traded this offseason. So we will see. I think that's one of the dominoes you could see fall before the draft.
Do I think it's likely? Yes. Yes, I do. But that doesn't mean I'm sitting here saying trade the guy. Because I know what they have at backup quarterback. And if you're asking me, who would you rather have, him or Russell Wilson? I'm going to take Will. Him or Kenny Pickett? I'm going to take Will. I mean, we can go down the list, and 99% of the time I'm going to take Will because there's some upside there. And those guys, those kind of guys, are always available.
Yeah, the Wilson and Pickett, those guys. Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
I mean, how many times did Joe Flacco get traded last year? Twice?
Yeah, at least once. And apparently they want to bring him back as the backup at 41 years old.
In Cincinnati?
Yep.
Yeah. Because Burrow's going to get hurt because the offensive line's a sieve.
See, I would take – Marcus is never going to come back. I would take Mitchell Trubisky over Will Levis. Trubisky's been good in Buffalo as the backup when he's been called upon, which has been rare, but I think –
he's been okay.
I would take Trubisky. I would take my guy Tyrod Taylor. I'd take Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, I mean,
but those are probably the only names.
So you're saying you're not going to throw anything over 20 yards the rest of the season?
I'm not worried about what happens if Cam Ward goes down because the season is lost at that point.
Okay, well, I'm worried about putting a competitive product on the field.
I agree, and Cam Ward is Cam Ward is a big part of putting a competitive
Yes,
product
he
on the
is.
field.
Yes, he is.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll wrap up hour number one on the other side. We haven't talked about the other former Titans quarterback that is out there, Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Where could he end up? How much money is Malik Willis going to get? I think that's
That's going to be an interesting, because I think he's going to be a starter.
yes.
But how is that deal going to be structured?
I agree. We will talk about that coming up next and finish up the first hour. Sasha Washington from Vanderbilt Women's Basketball going to join us at the top of the hour to start the 10 a.m. hour. Jake Lyman, Corey Curtis, Parker Kelly with you on this Wednesday morning. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 1025, The Game. Jake Lyman, Corey Curtis, Parker Kelly. Register today for Stars Trivia Night at Boombahs in East Nashville on Thursday, February 19th. It will be a night full of fun, food, and prizes, all while supporting Stars Nashville, a nonprofit providing free mental health support for students in over 200 schools across Middle Tennessee. For more details and how to register, visit thegamenashville.com/events. Before we get into Malik Willis here, and we're wrapping up our quarterback carousel conversation here in hour number one, some texts. Trevor says, geez, Jake, why do you hate Levis so much? Did he park incorrectly in a parking spot near you? I was complaining about somebody in my parking garage yesterday. I do not hate Will Levis. And Wes in Clarksville follows up and says, can't wait for Levis to be good somewhere else to prove y'all wrong. I don't care if he's good somewhere else. I think Will Levis actually could be a good quarterback somewhere else. It's never going to be here. That's the thing.
Not now. It's not.
You took Cam Ward number one overall.
Yeah, no, it's over.
That was the decision that was, hey, Will Levis, you are not going to be the quarterback here anymore.
Yeah.
He didn't come back last year after he was healthy. I think all of
he's still not, he still wasn't throwing at the end of the season. So he was never healthy.
If they wanted him in the building, don't you think he would have been in the building?
I guess so. Yeah.
Like that's my thought.
Yeah, but what do you always hear about injured players?
I don't know.
They're separated from the team.
Well, yeah, but do you think that once he was healthy, he was rehabbing for?
Yeah.
He had his surgery in what, July?
No, I think it was later than that. Was it July?
I think it was after OTA or minicamp because he didn't participate at all in training camp. So
yeah, it was midsummer. Yeah.
So shoulder injury. Let's say it takes 6 months. I guess. Well, actually, that is the whole season.
Yeah. I remember just reading not long ago that he was going to start throwing again.
Well, I think that if they wanted him around the building, he would have been around the building. Even if he was just doing rehab and stuff like that, I think he would have been there. I think the Titans are ready to move on.
Well, probably. When they drafted Cam Ward, they were ready to move on.
Right. So that's I'm not trying to say I hate Will Levis or I don't think he can be a good quarterback elsewhere. I'm just saying it's not going to happen here. What's the point of prolonging it anymore?
I think because I've always said he is new to the position. He did not start playing quarterback till he was in high school. And, Cam Ward played it from the time he was 5 years old. Yep. And you see the difference in the way they feel the position. Will is a football player playing quarterback. Okay. Cam's quarterback. Okay. Now, Will can still become a quarterback. He needs time. And he needs time under a really good coach like a Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan.
Yep.
And a couple years to just learn, and then get sprinkled in and see what you got. And it's got to be the right system and the right, all those things. I think he's got a lot of ability and a lot of want to. Now he's fragile, and so he's got to work through that as well.
Yeah.
But I don't give up on him long term.
No, I agree. I think there's a decent chance that he is a starter somewhere else in the league within the next few years. And if he's good, I will say congratulations. But once you drafted Cam Ward first overall,
no, you're not wrong.
His chance to be the quarterback here was gone.
No, and by the way, he didn't lose the job to Cam Ward. No. He lost the job to Will Levis.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good point.
He lost the job. He was handed the opportunity, and whether you think he was put in a bad situation or not, which I kind of do, doesn't matter. He didn't produce well enough, and so he's gone.
And let's go to the other day two quarterback the Titans took over the last few years.
Malik
Willis.
Yeah.
We were having the conversation during the break about what does that contract look like?
Yeah.
He's going to get signed to be a starter somewhere with what he's shown with the Packers. You mentioned the Dolphins. I think it makes a lot of sense. Halfley was in that building with Malik Willis. There's a relationship there. I'm thinking the Justin Fields contract from last year is about where you start.
It's like 2 years, $20 million.
2 years, $40 million total. 2 years, $20 million a year. I think that's about right. Maybe a little bit more for Malik.
Yeah. Spot Track put him on the Sam Darnold path of $35.5 million. Sam Darnold won 14 games with the Vikings. I don't think those two players can demand the same amount of money. ESPN kind of splits the difference at $26 million.
Yeah,
and
I could see that.
I could see 2 years, $50 million.
Yeah. I think that's about right for Malik Willis.
Yeah.
And
maybe 30 guaranteed.
Yeah, a little over the first year is guaranteed.
Yeah.
That way, if he's horrible in year one, there's an out.
There's an out.
And they can draft somebody.
But he still has some guaranteed money for the next year.
Right. And I think that's the right strategy for a team like the Dolphins or the Jets, who you don't see your future quarterback in this year's draft. So you take a guy who has high upside and you sign him for a year, and it's really boom or bust for him, right? Like, he's either going to prove to you he is the franchise quarterback or he's going to be horrible. Like, I don't see a whole lot of in between for Malik Willis.
Is Arizona or New York bidding against them? That's the other thing. If nobody's bidding against you, unless you're really bad at your job, which some people tend to be, and you overpay. I don't know. I don't know what their plans are. Both of those teams are picking very high. They may be trying to draft someone.
The price could go up for him. Like, I could see we start at 2 years, 50. Like, that's the initial one. Maybe it ends up 3 years and 90 million or something like that.
Yeah, like Arizona comes in and says, no, we want him. We're willing to give him a 2 year leash.
Right.
Like a 3 year deal.
3 years, 90 million with like 45 guaranteed or something like that.
So he knows he's good for 2 years.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, you can see that. But then you're talking about a first year head coach bank in any of these places, first year head coach banking their existence on Malik Willis.
Yeah. Which I guess you would love some assurances from ownership of like, hey, if this fails, we'll let you pick a quarterback or something. We'll let you get a draft pick. But I don't know with Malik Willis. Like, I'm excited to see him as a full-time starter because as we talked about with some of the other backups, Mac Jones and Matt Flynn and Nick Foles, it's like when you see the little flashes and you don't see him for a full 17 weeks, it's easy to get excited. I want to see what he does when he is the true quarterback one for a team.
If you're the Dolphins and you can have Malik Willis and let's just say that it's 2 years, 50. Okay. Malik Willis, Mac Jones, or you can pick up Kyler Murray on his deal.
Ooh.
Which one of those three? Now, and again, you're going to have to trade for Kyler and you're going to have to trade for Mac. So those guys are going to cost you draft capital as well. Would you rather have one of those guys and lose a draft pick and pick up, the money for Kyler? I don't know what the money is for Mac Jones right now. You're going to have to pay Mac Jones though. Or just, roll your dice with Malik.
I think the trading picks part of it is what I would hold me up is if you stack those three guys up and ask the Dolphins, honestly, do you think any of those guys are your quarterback for the next 10 years?
Yeah, no.
The answer would be no. It's like, all right, let's take the guy who we don't have to give up a third-round draft pick for.
Yeah. I mean, do you see any of those guys winning a Super Bowl one day? That's the question.
Yeah, I would say no.
Yeah.
And paying Malik Willis 2 years, $50 million is a lot more palatable than if you trade for Kyler Murray, you're paying him $30 million this year, $40 million this year, and having to give up. You may not have to give up a ton for Kyler Murray, depending on who takes on the contract, but having to give up a pick to go get him, I would much rather just take Malik Willis.
Yeah, because you can get him as a free agent. That's the big thing. And also, you've had the benefit of Matt LaFleur giving you a blueprint on how to win with Malik.
Yeah.
So you don't have to figure it out. You just gotta copy it and then being willing to adjust when teams adjust to you, because that's what teams do. So it'll be interesting. I mean, these are the big choices you have to make. These are the big choices you have to make. And, that's why I say, Arizona can want to trade Kyler Murray, but
somebody's got to be out there, right?
Somebody's got to be willing to take him.
Yeah.
And that's why, when Steve McNair got traded here, what was it, a 4th or a 5th round pick to the Ravens?
Sounds right.
Because they were the only team that was willing to trade for him. And so, look, if Minnesota is the only team willing to take on his deal because they've got a rookie quarterback contract, and they aren't cutting Kirk Cousins and absorbing that blow, they might be able to get Kyler for a 4th or a 5th.
Yeah. And you are what the market tells you you're worth, right? Like,
look, if he was great,
what the value is.
If he was great, Arizona wouldn't be trading him.
Yes. And Arizona, I think it is probably Arizona and Miami for Malik Willis, because you mentioned the Halfley connection. How about Matt LaFleur's brother coaching the Cardinals? Maybe there's
I didn't think about that.
like that could end up playing a role as well.
I did not think about that, and I probably should have. So thank you very much.
I think those are the two likely landing spots for Mr. Willis over there. So
yeah.
Going to be interesting this offseason with all the quarterback movement. And, of course, the Titans tied in a little bit with that, depending on what happens with Will Levis. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to text or call, our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
You know, LaFleur had Zach Wilson with the Jets.
Yes,
maybe,
he did.
Maybe he wants to bring him down to –
Yes, it's time for Zach Wilson to get another chance to start.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Hour number 1 is in the books. When we come back, Sasha Washington from Vanderbilt Women's Basketball will join us. Big game for the Commodores tomorrow. Top 5 matchup with Texas. We'll talk to Sasha on the other side. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up 1025, the game second hour on this Wednesday. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We start hour number 2 going to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We are now joined by grad student Sasha Washington on the Vandy women's basketball team, off to a 23-2 start and getting set for a top 5 matchup against Texas tomorrow. Sasha, thanks so much for taking some time. Glad to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Sasha, this season has just been so cool to watch. Big wins, top 5 ranking. What has allowed this team to be so successful throughout the first 80% of the year?
I mean, just our commitment to what we want to do. I mean, we have so many goals we want to achieve this season, and I think that's really driven us to where we are now.
For you specifically, Sasha, I know last year was tough. You had to miss the entire year. How rewarding has this season been for you, being able to come back and have so much success with this team?
It's been a blessing. You know, I wake up every day. I'm grateful that I'm able to step on the court with my teammates. It's just been really fun, honestly, getting to have this much success and being able to grow every single day.
Sasha, Cory Curtis from News 2 here. I just wanted to ask about role play with your team, because you obviously have 2 highly successful ball dominant players. And obviously there are points to be had for everyone else, but the majority of the time the ball is going through Aubrey and through Michaela, and for good reason. But how challenging is it to keep your head where it needs to be for 40 minutes with 2 ball dominant players?
I mean, I think that's what makes teams so successful, though, just knowing your role, and we know they're going to do what they do. So it is our job to get them the ball and let the rest come. I mean, they're going to dominate in any way possible, and that's actually what we want. So we actually want to find them. I think that we're all on the same page with that, and that's why we're so successful. We don't ever, get mad at it in any way. We actually are excited about it. We want them to succeed in all cylinders. So I think with their success comes other players' success, and then the team success overall.
Sasha, looking back a couple of weeks ago, you lose 2 games after starting 20-0. And I think maybe there was a moment for the team that flipped in that Florida game after going down 25-10. You come back, you win that one, and then back-to-back top 20 wins. Was there that moment for your team where you were able to snap things back and now have really taken a big step forward?
I mean, it's all just a learning curve. We had those 2 losses. We learned from them. Started the Florida game out slow, and we just knew that that wasn't us. So we knew we had to come back to being who we are, and I think that we did that pretty well in the second half. And these past 2 games, I think we've done that as well.
So how much value is there in getting punched in the nose, though? I mean, you guys were rolling right along when you went to South Carolina, and I always feel like there's good value in learning what your warts really are, because a lot of times winning covers them up. How much value is there in that game and the couple others that you dropped?
Great value, actually, honestly. I mean, it was something that needed to happen, and we learned from it, and now we're back. So I'm grateful that it happened. I'm grateful we got to learn from it.
And you'd like to see him again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Talking with Sasha Washington from Vanderbilt women's basketball. Sasha, just talking about the SEC in general, how do you think this conference prepares you for the NCAA tournament with the teams that you have to play night in and night out? Like, you just played Kentucky on the road last Thursday, come back home, face a top 10 Oklahoma team, and now number 4 Texas is coming in. How crucial are these experiences to prepare you for what hopefully is a deep tournament run?
I mean, you know more than anyone that this is one of the toughest leagues in the country. So we'll actually probably see over half these teams in the tournament. So just knowing that this league is going to prepare us to be tough, be physical, be in a dogfight day in and day out, and just the way we have to play, like Sunday, Thursday. So you don't get much of a rest anyway in the tournament. So I think that's prepared us pretty well as well.
Vanderbilt was down for a decade or so, and it takes time to convince people that you're in fact back. What has it been like the last 2 months at Memorial as the home fans have really jumped on board?
Oh, it's been great. I've been loving it. I am so like happy and grateful just to see fans walking here, just to make them happy, that they want to watch us play. It just truly been a blessing.
Well, Sasha, specifically for you, because you've been around for the entire Shea Ralph era, all 5 years. What has this experience been like for you to go from somebody who was believing in something that you couldn't see when Coach Ralph and her staff came in, and now it's coming to fruition in front of your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, just stay on the course. We knew this was going to happen eventually. We knew that something was going to turn and change, and it gradually did over time. And this year is been absolutely phenomenal for us. We know we have a lot more growth to do, but I just think that like seeing it from my eyes has been absolutely fantastic.
What separates Coach Ralph? What makes her great at what she does? Because this doesn't just happen without the captain of the ship being really good at their job.
Honestly, she just, and I like to say this, but she just never really changes. She's just been always the same. She's been always committed to her goals, to the program, to this team, her staff, her players. Like she will never, ever, ever change it. And she's just been a wonderful coach to work with. You know, she cares about obviously our basketball development, but she really, really cares about our off-court development. And I think that's very important, very special.
Talking with Sasha Washington from Vanderbilt women's basketball. Big game tomorrow night, Sasha. Top 5 game against Texas. What do you think is going to be important for your team to come out on the right side of it? And maybe what would be your message to some fans who, if they haven't come out and seen you, to come watch what's going to be a really high-level basketball game tomorrow night in Memorial?
Yeah, I think just making sure that we take care of the ball. You know, Texas is really physical. So just making sure that we match their physicality, we take care of the ball, and we control the pace of the game. I think it's going to be a great game. So I would recommend coming out. It's going to be a great atmosphere, great environment.
Sasha, thanks so much for taking some time. Congratulations on all the success so far this season, and wishing you and the team the best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much.
Good luck. Really enjoy watching you guys play.
Thank you.
Sasha Washington from Vanderbilt women's basketball joining us here to start off hour number 2. For Sasha, it's really special to see her coming back and playing the way she did. Had to miss all of her senior year.
And with Camille Pierre moving on,
right,
she was vital to this team.
Right. I mean, Vanderbilt desperately needed somebody who can play down in the paint. I mean, you have the elite guards with Michaela Blakes and Aubrey Galvin. But Sasha, there are moments in these games where she takes over.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like they say, you know what, if you're going to put 2 on Michaela, and if you're going to try and shut down our outside game, we're going to dump it down to Sasha, let her go one-on-one against your big. And guess what? Your big may be bigger than Sasha, but she's going to outwork her. Her footwork is pristine, and she's going to make a play.
She creates separation with her body pretty well. She gets wide, and creates that separation to get the shot off. And she always seems to come up with that critical offensive rebound.
Yes,
when they really, it's like she dials it up a notch, knowing, hey, we got to get 2 here, and so we're not going to make this shot. I got to get the ball, and she always seems to come up with that in that critical moment. And so, you know, this is a huge test for them. If they win or lose, does not make or break their season.
Yep.
And I know people hate it when I predicate stuff on that. What you want to do is you want to play well, and you want to be competitive, and see where it goes from there. And because it's all about March now.
Right.
It's all about March now. And I know SEC titles are nice. It's all about March.
A lot on the line tomorrow night. We'll continue the conversation around this. We'll also get into the Vandy men's team, who got a huge win on the road last night against Auburn. We'll talk all things Commodore hoops on the other side. A big thanks to Sasha Washington for joining us. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you on this Wednesday morning. Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. 1025 The Game's Big Joe Dubin will be at the Gaylord Opryland Convention Center this Friday from 3 to 5 for the National Wild Turkey Federation Sports Show. You can get your tickets now and check out the latest gear from the hottest outdoor brands and more than 500 exhibitors that will be on site. For more information, visit nwtf.org. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you. Big thanks to Sasha Washington from Vanderbilt Women's Basketball joining us in the last segment. And it's a big one coming up tomorrow night. You mentioned it. I think this is one of those where, and I also hate prefacing it with this because you want to win every game.
Absolutely.
Like there's no game that you go into and say, who cares? Vandy wants to go win tomorrow night, of course. But the way they've played over the last week puts you in a position where a win elevates you to another level.
Yeah.
A loss doesn't take you down at all.
Well, look, you don't want to lose by 30. Right. You that's why I say you want to be competitive. You want to show, they're 4, we're 5, we're right there with them. Win or lose, obviously you would like to win.
Yep.
But, when I was in college, I was the worst loser of all time. I mean, if you didn't want to play with me at the gym, I get it. But one of the things that I learned was it was the competition that I really enjoyed, not the winning and the losing so much. And, that's, when you lose by 30, it's not competitive.
Yep.
And that's when you got to look in the mirror and you say, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying they're going to lose by 30, but I'm just saying you can lose and it's okay.
Right.
And I'm not trying to preface that to say, hey, they're going to lose. I'm just saying if they don't beat them, don't freak out.
Right. It was, we were talking about the South Carolina loss during the break, and Vandy was 20-0 heading into that game in the top 5. And
they were ready.
And you get, South Carolina coming off a loss. I mean,
They
Don
were
Staley had them raring to go.
Yep.
And as it's happening and after the game, you're disappointed. It's like, man, that was not fun. And Shea Ralph said as much.
Exact quote. That was not
that
fun.
was not fun. But I think as we got later into the day, like get back to the hotel and you're settling in, you're like, man, this team's still 20-1 and your only loss is on the road against probably the best program of the last 5 years in women's college basketball.
10.
Since the UConn dynasty, I don't want to say ended because they won the national championship last year, but
curbed.
It stopped being that it was a foregone conclusion that they won every year.
Yeah.
And so I think you felt that of, man, it sucks to lose, but what this team is doing is so much bigger than just one game.
Absolutely.
And it's like you go into tomorrow's game and the winner of this game is all alone in second place in the SEC behind South Carolina. And I would argue has a claim to the last number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament with still weeks to go in the season.
Yeah, no, there's no question about that. And also going back to the South Carolina loss, the level that they have to get to play with them, they saw that.
Yep.
They got a taste of it. And now they're going to play Texas. They're more prepared to play this game.
That was in my pregame interview for the Ole Miss game right after the South Carolina loss. I asked associate head coach Tom Garrick, Shea Ralph's husband, I just asked, what'd you learn from that experience? And he said that there are levels to this.
Yes.
And it's you saw a team that was not just a collection of talent, right? Like I think you saw LSU a couple weeks ago, and it's like, that's a collection of talent. South Carolina is a really talented team.
Yeah. So it's a saying of, 5 fingers together, they make a fist.
Right. And that's what South Carolina is.
And they punched you right in the nose.
And I would say Texas is probably in between. Okay. I don't think they're as well-oiled a machine as Don Staley's Gamecocks.
Yeah.
But they're just as talented as LSU and South Carolina. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, you're facing the SEC Player of the Year in Madison Booker. Rory Harmon is one of, if not the best on-ball defender in.
Is he averaging upwards of 20 a game?
Booker is close.
Okay.
I have it somewhere. But Rory Harmon is at least the Texas all-time steals leader.
Okay.
She's up there in history. She is that good. Plus, everybody else on their team is also very, very talented. This is going to be a tough game, but I think you're right that Vandy has to be more prepared than they were for South Carolina.
Which is why I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it. I want to see how they respond, see how prepared they are to go toe-to-toe at that level.
I mean, on Monday night, Oklahoma is a really, really good team.
They're a top 10 team.
That's a top 10 team.
And they smacked them.
Vandy did what South Carolina did when Vandy traveled there. It was They scored 31 points in the first quarter. It was 44-21 with 7 minutes left in the first half. It was a splattering.
Yeah.
And if Vandy comes out with that kind of energy on Thursday, they can play with Texas.
Yep.
And it was funny yesterday. I read all the bracketology articles come out on Tuesday, and I like to peruse them and just see where they have Vandy. Everybody's got them on the 2 line. And one of the bracketologists, I think it was CBS Sports, goes, if Vandy beats Texas on Thursday, that might change things. I'm like, excuse me, if Vanderbilt beats Texas and goes to 24-2, Vanderbilt should be a 1 seed. Like there should be no argument about that.
Yeah, I don't understand what's the issue.
I guess it would be that Vandy's loss to Ole Miss would be considered worse than the loss for Texas at LSU.
But they played head to head.
But and Texas beat South Carolina in the non-conference.
Okay.
And UCLA. So I guess like you're
so
trying to say they got better wins, but like if you got a head-to-head result and it's close, Vandy should be a 1 seed.
Yep.
Anyway, that's my rant. Let's go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Clay is on the line. Clay, thanks for calling. What you got for us this morning?
So the women play tomorrow night. Is that correct? Is that in Austin?
No, it's here in Nashville, 6:30 tip.
Okay. So it'll probably be on television too, right?
It is not on television.
Wow.
It is
crazy.
streaming only, which is insane.
That is crazy.
Yep. I could not believe it. They are airing, I want to say it's Texas A&M at Kentucky on the SEC network.
You know, they've got alternate channels.
I know. Like, how does this not get flexed to like ESPN News or ESPNU or something like that?
Yeah, that's a missed opportunity for women's basketball.
Yeah,
I don't know if Greg Sankey has the power to
flex it, but it's a top 5 basketball.
I mean, he should flex.
Right.
I mean, I'm Greg Sankey, and I'm telling you, this game needs to be on television.
Yes.
We got to do this.
It's disappointing, but yes, Clay, it'll be streaming only on the ESPN app, but you can always listen in 94.9 The Fan.
Yeah, I'll be listening to you, Jake, for sure on that one. Cory, I had to call. And, I love calling on Wednesday so I can talk to you. I wanted to touch on the men's game.
Sure.
That's a big win last night.
Absolutely.
I've got to be honest that I thought it was going to be a tough spot, but Coach Byington said, I think after the game, that he knew that they were ready to play
on Sunday.
And I think that's the coaching of Mark Byington. I do think he's a terrific coach, but I wanted to mention Jalen Washington because that guy was just really, really good last night. And if Vanderbilt could get a little bit more, consistency out of him, that would really help. But, they still show when they want to, even 2 men down, they can be a pretty good basketball team. So,
well, I think you're right from the aspect of if they could get consistent scoring from McLaughlin and Washington, it takes them to another level. But I think, Mark Byington obviously deserves a ton of credit. He's a tremendous basketball coach, but I also think this shows the maturity of this basketball team, to say, hey, Saturday was not good enough. Wasn't good enough. And they came out and got out front early, and Auburn pushed, and they just pushed him right back. I mean, you go back to that game, and one of the biggest shots of the game is hit by A.K. Okereke.
Yep.
And, he only had 7 points, but he wasn't afraid to take the shot when the team needed it. And, of course, we wondered coming into the season who was going to be the guy, who was the closer. And Tyler Tanner has fully claimed that role.
He's a star.
Yeah, he is. He's a top 20 Wooden Award finalist now. And so they have answered really almost all the questions. The only question now is how much talent do they have to go far in the tournament? That's the only question. And what matchups do they get? Because matchups are always critical in that scenario.
Good to talk to you guys, Jake. I'll be listening tomorrow night.
Sounds good. Thanks for the call,
Thanks, Clay.
And
nice of you to say.
Yes, it is a very big win for Vanderbilt men's basketball last night.
Oh, it was huge.
I mean, as we were just talking about with the woman, is everybody wants to overreact to one game at a time. It's like the most recent game, the recency bias. It's like, oh, what's wrong with Vanderbilt after that? And it's a bad loss to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They had just lost 9 straight games coming into that one. But Vanderbilt did show the maturity, like you said, to say, hey, we have to be better than that. And they came out, they went on the road, and they beat a very talented Auburn team.
Yeah, Auburn was 6-4 in the league. going into that
Right.
game. And so that was not a gimme. And again, you knew Auburn was going to push back eventually, and then the good teams push right back. And they were able to do that. And he's right. They are still down a couple of very important players, and they're getting through, without it. And they got 32 minutes last night from Chandler Bing. That team was not set up for that.
Miss Chandler Bong.
Yes, Ms.
Chandler Bong. Yeah. Was that Reese Davis on the call last night who said that?
I don't know.
I don't know who it was, but the broadcaster did pull out the Ms. Chandler Bong.
But yeah, I mean, he gave them valuable minutes, and teams do, right? Other guys fill in the gaps. They may not get a lot of scoring from those guys, but what's their plus minus when they're on the floor?
Yeah.
Because I think that's usually a better number.
I've been told, because we were talking about whether the game is on TV tomorrow night, that the SEC does not flex women's basketball games anymore. They want to have some of their top tier games on the app to drive traffic there.
I've heard those excuses forever, and I think it's terrible. I think it is a terrible. Nobody's going to buy the SEC Plus package just to watch one game.
Well, I think if you have SEC Network, you have SEC Network Plus. It just, you got to go somewhere else to find it.
Yeah, and why make it more difficult to watch? I grew up in Chicago, all right?
Yeah.
And, the Blackhawks were owned by Mr. Wirtz, and he is one of the worst owners of all time. And he blacked out all home games that weren't sold out. And
wow.
And so for years, because the Hawks were bad,
you couldn't watch them.
And because his well, I want to make you come to the game. Well, you don't build an audience by taking the product away from them.
Right.
And it was a huge mistake, and it was horrible management, horrible ownership. And I view this much the same way. Like the college football playoff, it was all on ESPN.
Right.
I work for an ABC station.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, why don't we have the national championship?
Right. Let more people watch it.
I mean, this is ridiculous. You can, because like a lot of the Monday night games are multicast now on both of them.
Yes.
Or simulcast.
Right.
And I'm like, why can't you simulcast this?
Right. What is the point of not having it on ABC?
Because you know what? Some people just can't afford cable. They just can't.
Yeah.
It's expensive as all get out. All right. So some people can't afford it. And taking it away from people because you think it's going to make more people sign up. And I'm sure they've got some evidence that it does. But I think growing the product is probably the best way to go.
I agree. Especially you've got LSU, South Carolina on Saturday on ABC, I believe
in
it's
prime
on
time
too, at 7:30.
Yeah.
So you've got that game coming up. Wouldn't it be advantageous for you to have another top 5 matchup on
what a
Thursday
week
that you can push, right? Like I don't know, but I agree it's stupid, especially in
dumb.
in a landscape like this where the diehard women's basketball fans are going to watch it no matter where it is. That's not what you have to worry about. But the casual fans who are like, oh, there's a top 5 game tonight,
I'm going to watch that. Now they're not.
Never mind. I'm not going to find it.
No,
so,
now I'll go watch Bigfoot Adventures on Discovery.
It's stupid. But anyway, 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to text or call, our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll continue talking college hoops on the other side. Get more into Vanderbilt. We'll talk the Vols. They play tonight at Mississippi State. And a collision course only, 10 days away? Vanderbilt and Tennessee inside Memorial Gym coming up. Excited for that one. We'll continue the conversation up next. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Catch NASCAR action on the Game Nashville Sports Network all season. Tonight, 102.5 The Game will have live coverage of the Daytona 500 qualifying at 7 p.m. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you. We're talking college basketball, but it has kind of devolved into this streaming conversation.
Yeah.
We've gotten
because we can't watch the games we want to watch.
Well, right. And it's funny, like Austin texted in and says, look at what they're doing to the Olympics. You have to subscribe to Peacock in order to watch the full events. And I was just thinking that same thing. We've got the Olympic coverage on in studio, but they haven't shown the hockey game for more than a couple of minutes. Slovakia and Finland is underway right now.
Mikael Granlund, Eric Halla.
Yeah, UC Soros.
Juice.
It is 1-0 Slovakia at the end of the first.
Oh, those Slovakians.
We'll talk a little Olympic hockey later on in the show. But it started with the idea of this top 5 matchup between Vanderbilt and Texas tomorrow not being on TV is just horrible.
It is horrible.
And
I will not get off that horse.
And
it's horrible.
MLB TV has been in the news too with ESPN Unlimited. You have to purchase that in order to purchase MLB TV. It's like
that makes me not want to pay for anything.
Right. You don't have to make it so difficult. Like
no.
There are easy ways to do this. I'm glad that as a current MLB TV subscriber that mine just rolls over. I don't have to worry about it. But like you're making it more difficult for people to find your games. It should be the opposite. You should be making it easier for people to find your games.
I grew up running home from school every day, turning on WGN and watching the Cubs. And
right.
I love them for it. And the Cubs are my team to this day because of the attachment I made watching my team.
Right. And you knew exactly where they were going to be every single day.
For decades.
And I know the regional sports network stuff is a mess right now.
Yeah.
And a bunch of these teams are just
going to MLB.
Yeah. The Detroit Red Wings have moved their streaming rights to MLB Media.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the Tigers and the Red Wings because they're both owned by I'll stop calling him Pizza Boy. Chris Ilitch can have his name back after the moves he's made this week.
Well, so I'm taking us off topic. I apologize.
It's fine. This is what happens on this.
So you brought up MLB. Nashville gets a team. I mean, do they go to FanDuel?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that would be the start, right? But with the way FanDuel's trending, I don't know. By the time the MLB team got here, FanDuel would probably be gone.
Yeah, that was my big concern. Is FanDuel even going to be around at that point?
I mean, it's already switched multiple times. I mean, for forever, it was the Fox Sports Regional.
And then it was Bally.
And then it was Bally, and now it's FanDuel. And who knows what it's going to be down the road. But yeah, I would guess the Preds and the baseball team would go into the same package.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and here's the other thing, and you're starting to see it. With network TV struggling for eyes. I work at network TV, and the battle against streaming and the battle against YouTube and the internet is massive.
Yeah.
Massive. And it is tough to get the eyes on us that we used to get on us. And paying top stars big money for programming, the payoff isn't great. That's why, like, you don't see a lot of the big programming like you used to see on networks because it doesn't pay off like it used to. And so you're starting to see more sports leak into prime. Like, 4 and 5 here, you're going to see the Braves and you're going to see the Predators and you're going to see more than games on their stations.
Right.
You see with ABC, we have a bunch of primetime sports.
Yep.
And I think the NBA has leaked into NBC into prime time as well.
Yes, I think so too.
And it did with ABC for a long time as well. But I think you're going to see more and more sports. And I'm really interested to see when a local team has an agreement with a local affiliate to broadcast a majority or half of their games.
I could see that happening because I think it would be advantageous for both teams, right? Or both sides of it, right? The TV station gets more natural eyes on their station, and the team makes it easier for their fans to find their games.
So, like, can you imagine a local affiliate picking up the Braves in Atlanta?
Right.
I mean, they're hugely popular there. I mean,
Justin from Greenbrier texts in and says, I don't think these companies or even major sports owners understand how much more money they would pull in if they made their sports more accessible rather than harder. I view it as like these companies and teams, it's like when you're at an amusement park or sometimes at the airport, they make you go through the gift shop on your way out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you got to sign up for this service in order to get this. It's,
You know, the one that always gets me is like you go to the aquarium and you pose for the picture.
Yeah.
And the picture is $35.
Right.
And everybody looks at it and they go, how much? No. And I'm like, if you charge $10 for that, you would sell infinitely more of them.
It's like we get you in the building and we feel like we can just make you pay. And that's kind of what I view it as for a lot of these is we get you to sign up for this service and now you're hooked because you're signing up for this. Like the FanDuel stuff, even around here, in order to get the Predators, you have to get either the Grizzlies or the Hawks too. And it's like, do I really want to watch the Memphis Grizzlies or the Atlanta Hawks? No, but I have to pay for them if I want to watch the Nashville Predators. I really dislike the way that regional sports viewing has happened. And really just in general, the way that we're being programmed to watch, just put it back where it's supposed to be.
Well, and like, say the Predators were to take over their broadcasts, but they still got to have a place to put it.
Yeah.
They still got to have a place to put it.
Right.
And that's what I say. If you could get it partnered with a local affiliate, then you would have a place to put it.
Right. And you could still control streaming of some sort.
Yeah. You could stream it and it could air on that station.
Just a straight to consumer streaming model of like, hey, for the out of market viewers, you can watch it on your tablet with the NHL app or the Preds app. But if you're in market, you can go to News 2 or wherever.
Well, and like Nashville SC, they understand that not everybody has Apple.
Right.
And so I'm sure they are exploring other ways for people to consume their product. Because not everybody has Apple. And I don't know what those ways are or how you pull that off, but to me, you'd be foolish to not be saying, how do we get this in front of more people more easily? Because there's only people can only afford so many apps.
Right.
You make your pick, Hulu, Netflix, Prime.
Right. What do you value?
Yeah.
And 7268 on the text line makes a good point too of ESPN is getting the Super Bowl for the first time next year. Feels like it's only a matter of time until Netflix or Prime gets a Super Bowl. And it's like that. Then it's going to start becoming.
Now it's not on ESPN. It's on ABC, isn't it?
I don't know. I guess Disney in general is getting it.
I think it's on ABC.
On ABC. Well, that would make sense. And simulcast it. Why not? It's the Super Bowl.
Well, I think it's very important to the NFL that they offer these games free.
Right.
And now look, that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. We could get to a point where all games are streaming. Right. Which would be a big mistake. Because part of the glory of the NFL is hunkering down on your couch,
right,
and watching 9 straight hours of football.
Yes, exactly. It's like, don't mess with a product that people like.
You are the most popular sports league in the world
for a reason.
All right.
If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. You got every game down to 3 hours and 4 minutes.
Right.
It's perfect.
It's beautiful. And we've gone off on a major tangent, but it is. The decisions that are being made just aren't logical in a lot of these situations.
They're all greed driven.
Right. It's all about money.
Yeah. And I understand you have to have money to have a business.
Right.
But there's different ways to grow a business.
I think right. I think there are ways to make the same money and also have your consumers enjoy it. Right.
Yeah. Well, I just think as the Southeastern Conference, as a business entity, because you are, to not have this game on television, is like if you're Greg Sankey, you'd be like, what are we doing here? Right.
It is a borderline Final Four level matchup that you are getting, and you have to go to an app to watch it. It's
and maybe I'm just old and just like, Cory, it's not that big of a deal. We watch everything on apps. Well, I don't have cable. I have apps. So by the way, you can watch WKRN Plus free on Hulu.
There you go. Hey, and if you can't find the game on streaming tomorrow night, you can always listen. 94.9 The Fan
with Jake
on the Game Nashville app or on the Vanderbilt Sports Network.
Who's your color commentator, by the way?
Nobody.
It's just all Jake?
Just Jake. Yeah. I used to have Teresa Phillips my first year, and she was awesome.
Yeah.
She did home games with me my first year, but it's been last 3 seasons been just me.
What about the athletic director?
Yeah, should we get Dr. Lee?
Yeah, get her in the seat.
We've talked about some options. I've kind of joked we have an injured player, Madison Green, who I
Okay.
was like, maybe we should get her over here and she can be an analyst.
There was one time when I was calling. I used to do the play-by-play for the Titans preseason games on News 2 for about a decade. And one time Eddie George had some flight problems and couldn't get there. He was my color man.
Right.
And the team, everybody was panicked. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I'm like, well, number one, I could do the game by myself.
Right.
I could talk about this team for about 10 straight hours if you need me to. And they said, well, if they said, we can get you somebody else, who would you want? And it was the last preseason game. So I knew people weren't playing. And I said, I want Keith Bullock. And they're like, oh, well, that's who we were going to recommend. I go, yeah, because it makes the most sense.
Right.
And Keith came up and he did a great job. And
yeah.
He had all sorts of fun. And it was a really good experience. Keith ended up doing more games with us later after he was retired. But I'll never forget, Keith had one of the all-time great lines. The game was coming down to the wire. And this is when you still had overtime in the preseason.
Right.
He's like, man, I hope this doesn't go to overtime. I want to go home.
I think that was the collective thought of everybody on both teams at that moment.
Yeah.
615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to text or call. We'll wrap up hour number 2 on the other side. Going to get back into the Titans in the 11 o'clock hour, but we do have to talk a little bit about the Vols. We talked some Vandy. Let's talk Tennessee basketball as they take on Mississippi State tonight. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game, finishing up the second hour of the show. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you. Let's talk some Vol basketball. They play tonight, Mississippi State on the road. Tennessee being viewed in a similar vein as Vanderbilt right now, which we talked about that earlier. I think Vandy probably is a seed line higher than Tennessee in my book. But Tennessee does have a favorable schedule over the next couple of weeks. I believe it's Mississippi State and LSU
Tonight,
and then Oklahoma
so
before they play
that
Vanderbilt.
should be 3 W's.
Right. So there's a good chance that both Vandy and Tennessee are trending in the right direction when they clash in a week and a half over at Memorial Gym.
I look, my expectations for the Vols coming into the season were pretty high. I mean, not like sky high, but pretty high because Jacoby Gillespie's a good player.
He is.
And, you bring in a guy who is considered one of the better freshmen in the country. And Ament. And then, you've got other guys in the team like Estrella, who can play. And I expected them, I guess, to be better, more consistent than they've been this year. They haven't been bad, but they just haven't been like, that's a really good team. And so now, again, it's more important what you are in March than what you are now. And Rick Barnes has a pretty good record of making his teams better. And I think what you've started to see here in the last, 3 weeks, they've started to make Ament the focal point.
Right.
And I think that was the right move. And maybe he had to grow into that because he is becoming a force for them, and he needs to be a force for them, and it's making them a better team. So, you're right. These are 3 games. These are 3 must wins for them. They got to take care of business. They got to win these games, and it can really put them in position to do some other things. And I'm anxious to see how good they are when these teams come to Nashville, because, like I said, Rick Barnes can coach, and I think there's been more there than they showed the first couple of months of the season. But I think they're starting to sprout a little bit. They're starting to grow in the right direction.
Yes. And if you take away, which you can't, they blew the lead against Kentucky on Saturday night. But if you take away that one, they had won 5 in a row heading into that game, 4 in a row heading into that game. And then you've got this favorable schedule coming up. This is a team that could find a little bit of a rhythm and groove. The end of the season also isn't all that tough outside of the Vanderbilt games. Like, you play Vandy twice, but in between you play Missouri, Alabama, and South Carolina. Alabama's a good team.
Yeah, South Carolina's not.
But like Tennessee, there's a decent chance. They're 6-4 in the conference right now. Let's say you split the games with Vandy. You could end up with 13 conference wins this year.
Well, how many conference games?
Did they play 20 now?
I can't keep track.
No, they play 18. Okay. So 13 and 5.
No, I think 6.
12 and 6.
12 and 6.
Yeah.
12 and 6 would be really good. I mean, 12 and 6 would be really good.
Right. And with the SEC as wide open as it is this year, like that.
Yeah, they could win in Nashville.
That tournament in Bridgestone is going to be really fun this year.
That's one where somebody could come out of nowhere and win. Like Arkansas could win that thing. Kentucky could get hot and win that thing.
Yeah.
Because, they'll bring the fans. There's a lot of teams that you'll look at. Florida could win that thing. There's just a lot of teams that could come and win that thing this year.
Right. There's not a dominant force in the SEC this year. Like last year, you looked and you said Auburn and Florida are the 2 best teams.
Yeah.
And Florida is still really good, but I think you could really put probably the top 8 teams all in kind of a similar bucket. Like Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, they've been playing better lately. A&M's been good. They come to Nashville on Saturday. Vandy, Alabama, Tennessee, like that grouping. It wouldn't shock me to see any of those teams make a run.
No, not at all. I mean, that like you said, that makes for a better tournament.
Right.
I mean,
it's going to be fun.
It's going to be up in the air.
I do love just, personally that and I know they really can't do the women's and men's tournament the same week, but I love that we get the women's basketball tournament and then get the week off while the men's games are going on. Yeah. So like opportunity to just sit down and watch a ton of great basketball that week.
Doing this job for as long as I've done it, covering basketball tournaments is among the more fun things to do.
I agree.
When you get to the NCAA regionals and you get all these fans from all these different schools and the games come one right after the next and you get drama. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
I think the conference basketball tournaments, if you've never spent a week just around it, it's like another world.
Yeah.
I mean, my experience.
Well, the thing that's different about the conference basketball tournaments is everybody hates each other.
Right. And it's up to 5 games in 5 days for your team. So it's like
it's nuts.
It's not like the NCAA tournament where you're playing 2 games in 3 days and then you move on to a new city. Like, you're there for a long time and you're in the same building. It is a lot of fun. My experiences with the SEC women's tournament have been fun. Last year, Vandy beating Tennessee and then nearly coming back against South Carolina in the quarterfinals. But when I was in college, we went up to Brooklyn for the ACC men's basketball tournament when Virginia Tech made the run through and won. And we were going to stay the entire time no matter what, but getting to watch the Hokies beat Clemson on a buzzer beater in their first game. Then they beat Notre Dame the next night and then knocked off North Carolina and Duke in the semifinals and the championship to win their first ACC title. One of the most fun weeks of my life was just being around there. I did not sleep very much, but it is so much fun to be around those tournaments, especially because it is so close together and you're playing day after day that really all it takes is one team getting hot and anybody can win.
Yeah, one of my great memories is seeing Steph Curry as a true freshman at Davidson. And like they played Maryland, and I was just like, I not watched that kid play, and I saw him come out, and I'm like, okay, this is his dad Dell. I saw him with the Hornets.
Played at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, because I used to work in Columbia, South Carolina, so we saw the Hornets a lot, so I knew all about Dell.
Right.
I didn't know much about Steph, and I looked at him, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This kid's straight out of the YMCA.
Yep.
And he just torched Maryland, and you were just like, my goodness, is this gonna project into the NBA? And it absolutely did.
Yeah.
And so I will always cherish that memory.
It is one of Virginia Tech's fans' greatest. I mean, it's not their choice, so I wouldn't say regrets, but Seth Greenberg refused to offer Steph Curry a scholarship. And that has eaten at Virginia Tech fans forever because he grew up a Hokie. Both his parents went there. And apparently cried himself to sleep the night that Seth Greenberg told him he wouldn't be offering him a scholarship. So that's one of those that we look back on and we're like, man,
that was a bad choice.
Very bad choice.
That was a bad choice.
But like, he was tiny, and I think
he wasn't. And by the way, Seth Greenberg wasn't alone. He went to Davidson.
Right. Like, Seth Greenberg wasn't alone, but it was like, man, this is probably your best player in program history's son wants to come play for you.
And then he would have been the best player in program history.
Right. They said, like, you can be a preferred walk-on and maybe get a scholarship your sophomore season, but you're too small. You can't play in the ACC. And huge mistake. Huge mistake. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to text or call. Wrapping up hour number 2 here. On the other side, we're going to talk some Titans. We heard the conversation between Robbie and Rexroad along with PK this morning about, can you take a tackle at number 4? We will give our thoughts on that. And also, yesterday when we simulated the Titans offseason, we cut Tony Pollard. Cory has some thoughts on that. We'll get into all of that coming up in hour number 3. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Final hour, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Going back to the Titans here in hour number 3, we're going to have the tackle at 4 conversation, which got a little heated on Robbie and Rexroad this morning.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I thought Robbie was going to blow a gasket.
I've
there.
never heard Robbie get that upset.
The pitch went up.
You know, like, even like when the Bears beat the Packers, he wasn't that upset. Now, he hates Matt LaFleur, but I don't think I've ever heard him get that upset.
See, we haven't been together in studio maybe since the playoffs. Did he ever paint his nails?
You know, I think he did, but I haven't seen it.
Okay. We're going to need some proof there from Robbie at some point.
I believe in him. I would like to see a picture.
I haven't seen it. So
I have not seen it.
We
either.
need some accountability.
We
That's
do.
what we need.
Okay.
We do. We need some proof from Robbie Stanley at some point.
Proof of concept.
We're going to have the conversation about whether the Titans can take a tackle at 4, but let's start by going to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Malika has called in wanting to talk Titans. Thanks for calling. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. In a perfect Titans offseason, it would definitely have to be, we really need a receiver at number 4.
Okay.
I will admit, I do not know much about college football because Tennessee has so many awesome teams, but we really need a receiver. We really need to try and get Michael Pittman Jr., and we really need to get rid of Tony Pollard and try and maybe like get an undrafted running back and try and get an undrafted backup quarterback or, something cheaper. And thanks for taking my call, and I will call you guys periodically.
Malika, before you hang up, what is why
she
the
dropped.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what her disdain was for
Tony Pollard. They absolutely have to cut Tony Pollard.
Yes.
We were going to have that conversation.
Yes.
We simulated the offseason yesterday. There's
okay.
a new
I heard
website.
some of that.
And so we just went through and did everything. We did cut Tony Pollard and signed Kenneth Walker.
Okay.
I will put it out there, and we said it yesterday. Kenneth Walker, I think it's unlikely he even hits the free agent market.
Mm-hmm. I've seen his projected value at like $9 million.
Yeah, it's like 9 or 10 million. I think we gave him 10 over 4 years,
Okay.
40 over 4 years. I think he gets a tag or an extension from the Seahawks.
Sure.
But that was our plan. I said it to you during the break. I am not full on, you have to cut Tony Pollard.
Mhm.
I just think that there is an opportunity to get younger
Sure.
and still get the same production for about the same value. If you're paying $10 million to Breece Hall or paying $9 million to Tony Pollard, I would go with Breece Hall.
Well, I guess if you're invested into Breece Hall for a few more years, but to swap him out for a year, I'm not real interested in that. Tony's got 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah.
I think he showed at the end of the season when the offensive line was better. He was way, way, way better. He got a lot of yards. He went over 1,000 again. He had, I think, 1,300 total yards. You looked it up, which was the same number.
Yeah, Hall had 100 more scrimmage yards. They had the same amount of touchdowns.
Yeah, and so they were very close. And look, I would like to see them eventually reset the position and get younger.
Right, draft somebody
in the mid rounds who can come in
Yep.
and be a starter for you. Probably not this year, probably next year. And that's why I say you can ride out another year with Tony Pollard. He's $9.25 million against the cap this year. They would save $7.25 million by cutting him. So, you could sign somebody else and conceivably save money.
Yes.
Or you spent, if you spent $10 million, you'd really only be spending 2.75.
Right.
And so you could do that if there was somebody you wanted to invest in, longer term. They've got other needs, and I am attacking the other needs and worrying about getting a new running back next year. But if you wanted to reset, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But I'm not anxious to show Tony the door. Tony's good in pass protection. Tony can catch the football. Tony is tough. Tony has gotten beat up and has continued to play. And by the way, played his best football at the end of the season, which is good, with an offensive line that produced better. So, I'm for letting him play out his deal, but, I certainly could be talked out of it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of the dominoes that you have to look for over the next couple of weeks. Free agency coming up on March 9th, so under 4 weeks away. That's the legal tampering period begins. So before then, I think you're going to get decisions on Pollard, Ridley, Snead, and we'll have to see.
Well, we all think Snead is gone.
Snead, I'll put them on like a spectrum. Like Snead, I think is 100% gone.
Yeah.
I'd go 80% on Ridley, maybe 9. I think it's very likely Ridley's gone. Pollard, I think, is probably closer to 50-50.
Yeah, I would put Ridley on like maybe the 66.7%,
Okay, yeah.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3, yeah.
Yeah, and then I would also put Pollard in that 50% range.
Right.
It just depends on what they want to do.
Yes, I think it's just Robert Saleh, Mike Borgonzi sit down. It's like, hey, do you want to keep Tony Pollard? He's under contract. He's not that expensive. Great. If it's like, I have a good relationship with Breece Hall. He's younger. We could get him for about the same price. Let's go after that. I could understand both sides.
I think it's a critical year for Cam Ward. You want him to take that step forward for sure. And, I do know this. Tony Pollard is better in pass protection than Kenneth Walker is. And that's not the whole reason you go with a guy, but I think it's an important factor.
It's something that people don't think about in terms of running backs that matters.
Well, look at the Patriots this year. And we're all, be included, screaming for Travion Henderson to play more. But why do you think Ramondre Stevenson played more?
Because he was a better pass protector.
He was reliable,
yep,
durable, and also could pass protect. And so that's why he played more.
Yep.
And so, that is a part of it because, we saw there was a play at one point this season where Tony just looked at looked at the wrong hole and it just got Ward killed.
Yep.
And you can't do that. You can't do that. It's a huge part of the position. And you don't have to be great at it, but you got to be in the right spot. You at least got to get in the way.
You can be a speed bump if that's all what it takes, but you at least have to be a speed bump.
You got to give the quarterback a second to save his own life.
Right. Right. It can't be a free runner. He can run over you.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but you got to at least be there.
So again, I'm not saying, well, you keep Tony Pollard because he's a good pass protector. That's part of what I like about him.
Yes.
I spelled out the other things. I still think he's got some explosiveness, not the explosiveness he had in Dallas, but he's still 1,000-yard back. And I think he showed he was capable of a lot more the last 6-8 weeks of the season when the blocking got better. He was a dominant back.
I mean, pre that, I guess it was the Cleveland game where he had the breakaway. Pre that one, I would have said, Tony's gone at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he did step up, and I think it's 50-50. It's going to be just kind of pick your flavor if you're the Titans.
Really good in San Francisco. He was great in that game as well.
Right.
So
we will see with Tony Pollard. That's a big decision the Titans have coming up. But today on Robbie and Rex Road, big conversation about whether to take a tackle at 4.
Yeah, Joe asked me about that on Monday morning as well. So it didn't surprise
Joe
me.
Rexroad is planting his flag on that argument that it would be perfectly fine to take an offensive tackle at 4.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. I think if you take a tackle at 35, great. If that's the best player on your board, I have no problem with trying to plan ahead at tackle, but you got a top 5 pick. You have big holes at premium positions.
Yep. Well, tackle's a premium position.
But you don't have a hole there right now.
Yeah, I would agree.
And that's the way I look at this is right now, who's rushing the passer for the Titans on the edge?
Jalen Harrell.
Yes.
Femi Oladejo,
maybe. Like if they keep him on the outside. I think you have to go pass rusher here. And if you were picking at 15, I think there's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're at 15 and a tackle falls down the board to you that you love, and a lot of the big pass rushers are off the board, then I'd totally get it. I'd say, take the tackle. But you're picking at 4. One of those 3 pass rushers is going to be on the board for you in Reese, Bain, and Bailey. And unless you just really don't like one of them, I think you should be running to the podium with one of those names.
Look, if you think one of the receivers is a 1, then you could take the receiver there. I would agree with you. Most any of those pass rushers are going to make you a better team, but you can't overdraft because of the need at the position.
Right.
All right. But I think most people would say at 4, you're not overdrafting.
Yes, those 3 guys are worthy of a top 4 pick.
Yes. And so you're safe there. I don't completely disagree with Joe from the aspect that you can't ever have enough good players. But again, if he's just a tick better than Bain, whoever this tackle is, you're still taking Bain. Okay.
Yes.
You're still that tick better isn't enough to outweigh what you're doing there.
Agreed.
If you think he is Trent Williams and you think he is an all-pro player every year for
Yes.
the next decade, I don't have a problem with you taking him, because that you're saying basically this guy's worthy of the first pick of the draft. He is a superstar at
Right.
left tackle. Then I would go, okay. You can't go wrong being great at that position. But I'm not going to draft it because you consider it still a long-term need for this team, which it is. You do, I know he calls him Mandor. The last 6 weeks of the season, the offensive line showed us they could play winning level football.
Yes.
Okay. And so that's what I'm counting on. I saw it. I needed to repeat itself and ideally get a little bit better. And so, and Paul's right when he brings out, you haven't addressed this position, and that's the pass rusher in the first round in a very long time.
2010.
Yeah. Was that Derek Morgan?
Derek Morgan.
Yeah. You drafted Harold Landry in the second round.
Yes.
And stopping the pass in the NFL is vital. And there's two ways to do it. There's to hit the quarterback and there's to cover the receiver. Right now, the Titans don't have anyone doing either of those things, except for on the interior. But on the edge, they don't have anyone doing that, and they have no cornerbacks. So they have to address those spots. And you need premium players at those spots. I mean, the Seahawks front four won them the Super Bowl.
Right. And you could look back to last year. The Eagles front four hurried Patrick Mahomes.
Destroyed him. When they lost to the Bucks.
Right.
The Bucks front four just decimated the Chiefs.
Right. So I'm with you. I think you got to invest in that position. We can continue the conversation on the other side, because I do want, like, Mandor and, Dan Moore obviously is not a great tackle, but
he's not Andre Dillard.
But Dan Moore allows you to have patience in finding the tackle.
Absolutely.
And we can have that conversation coming up next. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you on this Wednesday morning. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you. Few more segments on this Wednesday. We're having the conversation, which I think is going to be popular today across the station after the debate between Joe Rexrode, Paul Karski, Robbie Stanley about can you take a tackle at number 4? And Cory and I have come to the consensus here of, I think, yes, if he is clearly head and shoulders the best player in the draft, it's Spencer Fano or Francis Maui Noah, who are the two guys at the top. If you look at that and you say, yeah, that's a 15-year all pro, and we are sure of it, he should be the number 1 pick in this draft, then fine. But you're picking at 4.
Mm-hmm.
No one's talking about the tackles like that.
Nope.
And I think, honestly, you're looking at it and saying the pass rushers are probably the best players in this draft. So the way it's set up, I don't see any reason for them to take a tackle. Sure, there's a scenario at number 4 in a different draft where maybe the Titans could take a tackle.
I think that's the important thing, is that this isn't that draft.
Right. It's not realistic. And that's why when like Daniel Jeremiah, and I saw one other mock draft mocking a tackle to the Titans.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. Like,
I didn't know any of them.
This is not just a made up argument for the sake of an argument. Like, people are mocking tackles to the Titans, and it just doesn't make sense because you're paying Dan Moore $20 million this year.
Yep.
If you draft a tackle, not only do you still have no one to rush the passer, you've got either a $20 million backup or your 4th overall pick is sitting on the bench.
Yes.
And
or you move one of them into right guard.
Right. And I understand Joe's point of 2026 is not the end all be all of the Tennessee Titans, right? So you do have to figure out left tackle at some point. But the Dan Moore signing has given the Titans so much flexibility of when they find that tackle.
Yeah.
Because Dan Moore is a fine player. And until he's not a fine player, left tackle is at least not a gaping hole.
It was a black hole with Andre Dillard, Nicholas Petit-Frere, and Dennis Daly.
Yes.
I mean, it was a problem every snap.
Right.
And the problem is most of those guys weren't combatants. They weren't football players.
No.
And Dan Moore, at least he's a football player.
Yes. He is out there playing average tackle, which is better than it's been. It's not a long-term solution.
Yeah. You cannot put first-round picks everywhere.
Right.
You can't. I mean, you're going to have to pay Peter Skoronski. Ideally, you're going to be paying J.C. Latham.
Yep.
Depending on what he does. But ideally, you can't have first-round picks all in one spot. You've got to spread it out, and you've got to invest in each position.
Right.
And right now they are not invested whatsoever in edge and cornerback
and wide receiver.
Really, especially if you cut Calvin Ridley. And so, there's draft capital and money to be spent in those spots. They have invested mightily in this offensive line. You do still have to get it right. So don't get me wrong on that. I fully understand. No one here, I don't think anybody on this station has talked about offensive line more than I have. So,
I mean, left tackle does have to be figured out. But Dan Moore, as much as we talk about that he's going to be gone after this year, which I think is the most likely scenario, it's a clean out after 2026.
Sure.
They can get out of it with no dead money. And I think the idea is you can take your tackle next year, but you don't have to cut Dan Moore after this year.
Nope.
Like,
you got a lot of cap space.
It is not a 2-year deal. It is a 4-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
They have the option to get out of it if they feel like they have a better solution there, but they don't have to.
Well, and the other thing is you go into next year's draft with him still on the roster.
Right.
And then you're not pigeonholed into picking that guy.
Exactly.
And if somebody is better there, if there's this star wide receiver or a lockdown corner, then we go, well, we can take that guy now. We'll play Dan Moore again.
Right. And that allows you to find your tackle when it more naturally, right? You don't have to force it like you did when Peter Skoronski's on the board at 11 and your offensive line has been abysmal for 2 years. You can't take Jackson Smith and Jigba because you need to take an offensive lineman. And then when you run Nicholas Petit-Frere back out there and he's horrible, or actually this year was the Andre Dillard year, and J.C. Latham's on the board, you can't take Brock Bowers because you need a tackle.
Yeah.
You're not in that position right now.
No, I
Where
agree with you.
Reuben Bain and David Bailey are on the board.
You have more flexibility.
You don't have to say, man, we're passing on a really good pass rusher because we need a tackle. You don't need a tackle.
No, you got one.
And I think
He's not a Hall of Famer. He's not a Pro Bowler.
no,
but he's a player.
he is a competent NFL player.
By the way, I'm going to change the subject. Kurt
Yeah.
Warner has shaved his beard, and I cannot cope.
Oh no,
I cannot cope.
I don't know if
It's like seeing a hairless cat. I just
I don't know.
I can't handle this.
I don't know the last time I've seen him clean shaven.
Did one of his kids get married or something? He needs to grow the beard back.
Possibly easier for Zachary Levi to play him in his next movie. Did you ever watch that? The American Underdog? It was okay. It was fine.
I thought it couldn't live up to the story.
Like it was good.
So we talked about the Miracle documentary,
Right.
which you watched.
I did watch.
And we're going to talk about later.
Yes.
I think a good documentary on Kurt Warner would be outstanding.
I agree. It did like the Hollywood cinematic motion picture was fine. Like it was a little over dramatic for me. Like really cool story from Kurt Warner, and don't want to take anything away from that, but it's like
a documentary on it. Okay, back to the Titans.
Sorry.
It's too distracting.
I think the ideal plan for the Titans is you're able to address edge and wide receiver and cornerback in this draft. And then you head into next year's draft where it's like, all right, we see what we have. And maybe we do take a tackle in the first round in 2027. But you don't have to.
I like you're going to probably take an edge this year.
Yeah.
I like taking a wide receiver or a corner next year.
In the first round?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. And I think it all just depends on how day 2 goes. Day 2, so day 1, you're picking at 4. You got blue chip players on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there you can lean edge because you're so depleted there. And I get what Joe is saying.
So you're going to double up on edge.
No. I'm saying at 1, you take the edge.
Oh.
On days 2 and 3, I think you can go best player available. And you do need a wide receiver at some point. I think wide receivers, you may weight heavier. Same with corners. But again, if at 35, a tackle who was projected to be a first-round pick all along just slips through and gets to 35, and you're like, man, this guy's a best player on the board by a mile. Like, we got some wide receivers we like, we got some corners we like, but this tackle wasn't supposed to be here. I'm fine taking the tackle at 35.
Yeah.
You can't do it at 4.
Well, I might have been Joe who brought it up that, Rustin Webster did take Taylor Lewan when they still had Michael Ruse at left tackle, but we knew Ruse was going to be retiring and they needed a right tackle. Yes. So Lewan was the right tackle for a week. And then Ruse tore his ACL and he shifted over to left tackle. But that proved to be a great pick for the Titans.
Yes.
That proved to be a great pick. But there was a need for another starting tackle.
Right. There is a scenario, and I think this is what Joe is getting at, is that like there is a scenario where you take a tackle at 4, but realistically with where you're picking and the draft and the players you have, that's not this scenario.
I would agree with that. Now, obviously, like you said, Daniel Jeremiah, and there's another mock that has the Titans doing that, and so to them that makes the most sense.
It was Cynthia Freeland,
okay.
I want to say.
So to them that makes the most sense. To me, it does not. But again, what makes the most sense to Mike Borgonzi? Again, you would have 3 of 4 of your last 4 first-round picks being on the offensive line. That is neglecting all the other spots.
Yeah, we were. You could say you got to water all the flowers on your roster. You haven't watered the edge rusher flower in a long time,
and you've been trying to piece it together.
I mean, you've been having to deal with offensive line because you watered it with battery acid for 4 years. But it's like, at some point, the rest of your roster needs the attention.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know the offensive line is so important, especially with a young quarterback.
Yes, it is.
But your offensive line is in a decent spot right now for the first time in a long time, where it's like you can go into this year and say, this could be an above average offensive line group.
Yeah. Well, and this is what I always say, and I've probably told you this before. There were a lot of teams that didn't need a quarterback that passed on Aaron Rodgers. There were a lot of teams that didn't need a running back that passed on Adrian Peterson.
Yep.
And, sometimes you outsmart yourself. If a guy is a great player, you take him.
Yep.
And you figure it out from there. Now, when you're 3-14, it can look a little different because the Titans are void of stars,
right.
And they need, Like they need this number 4 pick needs to be a Pro Bowl caliber player.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about like the 7th
Shedeur
alternate. I'm talking about like the Jeffrey Simmons, Chim DK
right.
level of Pro Bowl player, where your first pick off the board going to the Pro Bowl. And they need this player. When you look at the Seahawks, all right, and you look at their players, look at who their first round picks are. They are ball players.
Yeah.
They are ball players.
Look at their drafts from the last like 4 years.
Yeah.
John Schneider hit it out of the park.
Yeah, and because especially in the early rounds, he drafted guys who helped his football team. They got Nick Emenwari when the trade with the Titans.
Yep.
And he's not a project. No, he's a player.
He probably should have been the defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, and the Titans wound up with the project, and he wound up with a guy who helped him win the Super Bowl. Devin Witherspoon, he is a player. They had Gable, the offensive lineman. He is a player. They Jackson Smith and Jigba, last I looked, is pretty good.
Right. You look at their draft classes from the last
and by the way
4 years.
The Titans took Peter Skoronski instead of Jackson Smith and Jigba because they were so desperate on the offensive lineman.
Yep.
And so now maybe you can draft Jackson Smith and Jigba because you're not that desperate at tackle.
Yep. And you look, Devin Witherspoon maybe could have been the Super Bowl MVP.
Yep,
they
could
took
have
him
been
in 2023. Jackson Smith and Jigba in 2023. Zach Charbonnet, AJ Barner, Byron Murphy,
Kenneth Walker was a second-round pick.
Nick Emenwari, Charles Cross. Like they have loaded up over the past 4 years in the draft. And
compare what the Titans have done in the first round.
Yeah.
First, second, for the last decade.
Right. I mean, Skoronski looks like he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
J.C. Latham, I think you still have hope.
Yeah.
But the years before that
and while we're, like you said, J.C. Latham was drafted high where you need him to be a monster.
Yes, all pro level player.
Yes.
And he hasn't been that yet.
No, and this is a big year. This is a big year for him.
This is a massive year. We saw it with Skoronski last year where he finally took that step. Can Latham do the same and hopefully stay healthy? 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you have thoughts on the Titans, we will get to your text. And also, men's Olympic hockey is underway. Game 1 started about 2 hours ago, so they are into the third period now, or at least about to start the third period. Finland and Slovakia all knotted at 1 after 2. We'll talk a little Olympic hockey as well. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5, The Game, Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Little Rick Springfield.
Springfield, that's right.
This is my mom's all-time favorite artist. Is
Yeah,
Rick Springfield.
that sounds about right. Yeah, I'm serious. That age group,
yeah.
they still love Rick Springfield.
Yeah, I saw him in concert one time with my whole family went, and I like some Rick Springfield.
I dated a girl once who loved Rick Springfield.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good pull there from Parker. Talking Titans here. Couple of segments left on the show. Wes from Hermitage texted in and says, I really hate all this talk about the fourth pick without even mentioning Carnell Tate. And I've kind of cooled on picking a wide receiver at 4.
Yeah.
Early on, I agreed with a lot of people's thoughts of you do what's best for the quarterback, and getting him an elite weapon is what's best for the quarterback. But I just don't. I feel like you're reaching if you're taking Carnell Tate at 4. He's a really good player, but I don't know if he's a top 5 pick kind of player.
Well, I think one of the things that hurts him is he's not the best receiver on his college team.
Right. Right.
And now, again, the best receiver on his college team would probably be the first pick of the draft. So,
yeah. What do you think if Jeremiah Smith was in this draft? Does Mendoza go number 1, or do they take Jeremiah Smith?
I don't know, man. Somebody else might trade up to come get him. He's a monster.
I think they go Mendoza. I do. Like, quarterback is just that much more valuable.
Who's picking second? The Jets?
The Jets would sprint the card in for Jeremiah
or somebody would come to them with just an avalanche trade, like a Julio Jones trade.
Yes, exactly that. That Jeremiah Smith is going to be one of those conversation pieces throughout next year of how good does a quarterback have to be to pass on Jeremiah Smith at the top of the draft next year.
Well, okay, I'm looking at Carnell Tate, and again, I'm not trying to disparage the guy whatsoever. Obviously, he's a big-time talent, but his best games are against bad teams.
Yeah.
All right, against Wisconsin, 6 for 111. Penn State, who was bad this year, 5 for 124. Ohio, 5 for 101. Minnesota, 9 for 183. Against their more top-tier competition, Texas, 2 for 49. Illinois, 4 for 41, Michigan, 5 for 82, Indiana, 4 for 45, and against Miami in the playoffs, where I thought he was invisible, was 3 for 37.
He short-armed the ball on third down, too.
And so when you're talking about picking a guy fourth overall, he needs to be a monster.
Yep.
And when you watched Ruben Bain,
he was a monster.
That guy's a monster.
Yep.
And so, and it may not be Ruben Bain, but
David Bailey had 14.5 sacks this year too.
If I was picking like 12th, then you could talk to me about Carnell Tate
or Mekhi Lemon. I would love
or Tyson, the kid from
Jordan Tyson from Arizona State.
Yes, and because I think he might be the best receiver in the draft.
I think I look at it this way: of wide receivers deep in this draft class.
Yeah, you can get the fall off will not be as far
exactly
at 35 as the edge rusher would
be.
Right.
Matt Miller put out his draft board yesterday, and 9 of the top 50 players were wide receivers.
Like you could get Chris Brazzell possibly.
Brazzell or Jeremy Bernard or Chris Bell from Louisville.
Who's the kid from Georgia?
He was Zachariah Branch.
Yes,
out of USC, then Georgia.
Yeah,
I think those top 3 pass rushers of
they're going to go.
Reese, Bain, and Bailey, I think, are in a tier of their own. They're good pass rushers. Your Keldrick Falks, your Cassius Howells. I'm sure I'm missing some other names, but I don't think you're, like you said, the drop off from the top 3 edge guys to the edge guys who will be there at 35 versus the drop off from Tate, Tyson, Lemon to Bernard, Brazzell, Branch. I think that drop off is a lot more palatable.
Yes, I would agree. And I don't know for sure if those guys are the ones at the top.
Right. I think they're being pushed up, whereas they'd probably be more like mid first round picks in a usual draft.
Yeah, I would agree. They're just not that. I mean, like when JSN was the first receiver off the board
at 20.
Yeah, but he had some monster games in college.
The Rose Bowl against Utah is one of the greatest receiver games I've ever seen. And he was a freshman.
Yeah.
I really think a wide receiver would be really important for the Titans, for Cam Ward, to get a guy who can be your future one. I think it's a lot easier to find that at 35 than it is to find a game-changing Pro Bowl level pass rusher at 35.
And they need that.
Right.
I mean, you think about like combining the kid from Texas Tech,
Bailey.
Yes, my brain is mush. Bailey or Bain or Arvell Reese with Jeff Simmons, and you're just like, okay, we can do some things to the quarterback and cause some problems and help our cornerbacks out.
Yeah.
Because right now, look, I was very impressed this year with the pass rush that the Titans came up with
considering who they had.
Yes. No, seriously.
No, 100%.
Seriously. I was like, because I thought they might have like 10 sacks.
I thought
season.
that might be one of the worst pass rush units
I've
in
ever
a
seen.
long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so what they scraped together, I think they deserve high marks. And they had some guys, Draymond Jones.
Yep. Jihad Ward. Jalen Harrell was making plays down the stretch.
They had guys get better.
Yeah.
And they had guys step up. And then, of course, Jeff had a career year. And I think, those guys deserve credit. And I think the coaching staff deserves credit for getting those guys coached up. But you'd like to have more talent.
Yeah.
I mean, you just would like to have more talent. Talent wins. Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, talent.
Yes.
I mean,
I agree. And I think if I'm looking at most likely strategy for the Titans, it's edge it for wide receiver at 35. But you just got to see where the board goes.
Yeah, I think, that second pick is all over the place.
It could be a corner. It could be an offensive lineman.
Yeah, it could be a tight end. I mean, you don't know.
Right. I mean, if it all is just going to depend on how the Titans have these guys rated and who ends up being on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard Dable likes to run a lot of two tights, which I love.
Yesterday in our simulation, we brought Chig back.
Because of that?
Because we didn't want to create another hole that we had to fill.
Well, you know how I feel about him.
Yeah. I think he deserves to be back.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't sign him back already.
Right.
Like, I understand he can't block. I understand that. But I'm not asking him to block. I'm asking him to catch the football and run with it.
Yep.
That's what I'm asking him to do. And I think he's pretty good at it. Somebody, I'm a broken record. Somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to say, I can work with that. And he's going to catch 75 passes for 850 yards. And people are going to go, gosh, we had that guy.
We had Chig Okonkwo.
And I'll say, yeah. And I sat there and I told you this was going to happen.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go to our phone lines. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Chad has called in. Chad, thanks for calling. Good morning.
Hey, good stuff last couple of days. When I'm putting together a football team from where the Titans are, I have obviously it's pieces of the puzzle, and I'm a big team speed guy. I want to make sure that I of course, none of this stuff is new or original, but prioritize position. The most important position in sports is the quarterback. So I'm not going ahead, or I'm not going to continue to build without high quarterback play, and I want my quarterback room to be elite, not just my potential starting quarterback. I think Will Levis is a piece. I think people emotionally in Tennessee have wrote him off, but a lot of people wrote off Sam Darnold. I think all the pieces. I'm not sure if it's going to work in Tennessee. I don't know if it's going to work with Cam Ward. I might be looking to maybe, if I trade Will Levis, which everybody's talking about doing, I want a kind of a quarterback in a similar situation. Maybe it's Anthony Richardson. Maybe there's the kid up in Tanner up in with the Eagles. Maybe you can make kind of a lateral move and bring another quarterback in, because you want to keep working on that and drafting that. So that's a big piece. I'm curious, a quick question for y'all. Let's say, because quarterbacks, they go, the value of a quarterback can just within a year can just drop, the bottom can drop out from a guy that, for example, J.J. McCarthy could have last year, if the Vikings looked to trade him, he could have probably got a top 5 pick for him. And now, and this is my question for you guys, and this question I'm asking everybody, and the answers are so all over the board, but it's a, very interesting question. Let's say J.J. McCarthy, let's say the NFL had a rule in the draft. You can reinsert the draft where you are. So you got a 2-year player, J.J. McCarthy. He goes in this draft. I don't want to hear trade value. I want to hear, where does J.J. McCarthy go if he's in this draft? Your thoughts, fellas.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Chad. I guess based on what we know about J.J. McCarthy, I would say he's a day 2 pick.
So we're saying based on what he's done his first 2 years in the league?
Right, yeah. Like I guess if you reinsert the prospect in, he might be a top 5 pick because
I would
it's a
say
weak quarterback draft.
I would say day 3.
You think he's a day 3 pick?
What I've seen?
Yeah, he hasn't been good.
No, I mean, last year was not good. I mean, Sam Darnold won 14 games with that team.
Yeah, I would say he's third round pick would be my guess. I would say he's one of those guys you view as a project, which that's kind of how I always viewed him. I did not like J.J. McCarthy coming out of Michigan.
I'd say 4th or 5th.
Yeah, it's a good question.
I mean, and he's right. You don't know. Some guys take more time. He looks lost.
Yeah, no, 9 has not been good.
I mean, his best plays are with his feet. And,
Right.
and we've seen other young guys like, Josh Allen, when he came up, his best plays were with his feet. But he also took a big leap in year 2 and a big leap in year 3. And I know he missed year 1.
Right.
So maybe that's not fair to him. But last year was a huge disappointment.
Yep.
To the point where we're talking about who are they going to bring in to, at the very least, compete with him this year.
And it's a good question from Chad because the Titans are in a similar situation. Things could go a lot of different ways with Cam Ward. And it's like,
I mean, Cam looked considerably better than J.J. McCarthy.
Agreed. Cam looked better, but year 2 is a massive,
it's a huge year. It's a huge year. I agree with him that I like the ascending quarterback behind him, someone that you can continue to develop. Now, who else that would be if you're not going to keep Will?
Yeah, he mentioned Tanner McKee. I mean, that's fine. Like Anthony Richardson.
No. I mean, Davis Mills, I don't think the Texans are going to let him go.
Right. When you find a good backup quarterback, you usually keep him in the building.
I mean, there's some people who are clamoring for him to be the starter there.
Yeah. Crazy how things change.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud was viewed as an ascending top 5 quarterback, and now
and that's why you can't make a decision in 1 year. Yes or no.
Right.
I mean, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks flash for a year. And I mean, Mark Sanchez went to back-to-back AFC championship games.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, he's the butt of every joke.
Right. Pun intended.
Yeah. I mean, literally. And so, Bryce Young looked done.
Yeah.
Looked done. And now he's in the playoffs.
Right. You don't know after 1 year, and that's why you don't hand out the big extensions after 1 year. Like CJ Stroud,
Jaden Daniels, everybody's ready to crown him as top 5 quarterback,
and now it's Stroud and Daniels are both heading into their next year of like you got to prove something.
Well, I got big concerns about Daniels.
Yeah,
not as a player,
injuries,
as a body type.
Yep,
absolutely.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We've got
Kyler Murray cannot be 6 feet tall.
Oh, wow. He's young there. That's from
he is dainty.
That's from 2019.
He's dainty.
Oh, so that's right before he got drafted.
Wow. Sorry, you're not watching this. I am.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We got one more segment on this Wednesday. I've been promising some Olympic hockey talk.
Okay.
So we'll talk that, and I'll let you know my thoughts on the Miracle documentary.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up. 102.5 The Game. Finishing up the show here on Next Man Up, Jake Lyman, Corey Curtis, Parker Kelly. Tomorrow on the show, Teron Davenport in for a TD Thursday. We'll talk plenty of Titans with TD, but want to wrap up the show with some Olympic hockey because men's Olympic hockey is officially underway. Slovakia has taken a 2-1 lead on Finland with 10 minutes to play.
Is Saros in net?
Saros is in net.
Oh, no.
Yeah, not ideal. He has saved 18 shots.
Yeah.
So,
but Ellie Tolvanen, another former Predator, has scored
yes,
for Finland.
Ellie Tolvanen has the goal for Finland. So 2 Preds on the Finnish team. Eric Halla also on that squad.
Mikkel Granlund, another former Predator, also playing in this game.
So this is a big one, and I would call that an upset, right? If Slovakia beats Finland,
Yeah, I would think so.
I think that's an upset in Group B. The second game of the day also includes a Predator, Sweden and Philip Forsberg taking on Italy, the host team. But I saw reports this morning that Philip Forsberg is not in the lines. He is skating as the extra forward today. So he may not play in this game against Italy.
Is that just because Italy's going to get...
Maybe because they're just horrible.
Yeah, they're going to get mopped up. Because that game's not close.
No. Alex Doherty of the Tennessean put this out, that the Sweden projected lines, Forsberg is skating as the 13th forward. He says every comment on this tweet is, why is Forsberg the 13th forward? Because it is a certifiably insane lineup decision. Maybe he's just getting some rest.
Yeah, that would be my guess. That would be my guess. They don't need him in this game, and they're just going to rest him.
Right.
Because it's Italy.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against Italy, but they're not a hockey
And it's
power.
like Finland and Slovakia in that group are going to be the 2 tougher games that they play. So maybe you don't see Philip Forsberg in that game. I think it's airing on Peacock. But tomorrow, the Americans get their run in the Olympics.
The Americans
playing Latvia at 2:10 Central Time tomorrow. So
Latvia's had some teams.
Latvia, yeah, I mean, I think that's not the worst team in their group. I think Denmark and Germany are the other 2 teams. The U.S. got a good draw. So excited for that one.
We're already good.
Well, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, we're good.
But the U.S. should be everybody makes it out of group stage, by the way. So it's just about seeding. The 3 group winners and a wild card get buys, and then the bottom 8 teams will play to get into the quarterfinals.
So it's not like the Miracle on Ice team where just making it to the medal round was a miracle.
Right. So if the U.S. wins its group, it will be 1 win away from the medal round.
Okay.
And speaking of the 1980 team, because we've only got a couple of minutes here, unbelievable documentary, The Boys of 80 on Netflix.
Yep.
If you have not seen it, check it out.
Yeah, we were talking about it some last week. They get about 10 to 15, probably 10 or 12 of these guys together, and they've got them on the bench in Lake Placid, and they kind of are telling the story, and you see them watching a lot of it.
Right. You see their reactions, which is cool.
Yeah, and you see 40 years later, there's a great moment at the end when they're walking through Lake Placid, and people are just yelling at them, just like, go USA.
Right.
People still, I mean, for those of us who were alive for it, it is something that never leaves you.
I really enjoyed it. You got to hear some sound bites from Herb Brooks too. Obviously, he has since passed away for a while now, but you got to hear some sound bites. I thought it was awesome. If you haven't checked it out.
There was also a moment late because there was a lot about how tough Herb was on the guys. Because he made himself the enemy to unite the team together, because a lot of these guys hated each other.
Right.
But there was a moment at the end when Ken Morrow read a letter that he had never read before from Herb about how difficult it was to stay separate from the guys, and he'd hope to connect with them one day. And I he was alive for 20 plus years afterwards, and that he never made it happen is sad.
Right. Yeah,
it's sad.
It is. But again, check it out if you can. It's on Netflix. Great stuff. And the U.S. team starts their run in 2026 tomorrow, taking on Latvia.
Yeah, you'd love to see a U.S.-Canadian
it's got to happen,
gold medal. I still think that, I mean, and again, I watched the Miracle on Ice. I watched the game after the tremendous games. The best hockey game I think I've ever seen is USA-Canada in Vancouver for the gold medal.
Yep.
That was riveting, every second of it. I don't think Ryan Suter left the ice. I think he played all like 70 minutes or however many minutes they played. He was incredible. But I love Olympic hockey. I think, it's not about fighting. It's, there are other fights occasionally, yes, but it's more about just 190% effort.
Yep. and going to be a ton of fun. Olympic hockey officially is underway. That'll do it for us, Corey. Always great having you in. We'll do it again next week.
It's been a delight, Jake.
Tomorrow on the show, Teron Davenport, Chasing Big Joe are coming up next. You're on 102.5 The Game.